Pee now.
You know what? I have to pee too.
Are you serious?
Can we all take pee breaks?
Oh, yeah, I gotta
I'm
pee.
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Bienvenidos, señoras y señores, to another episode of the Terricolas podcast, the show where we bring our unique ideas and stories to you. Wow, sharing the same ground, we all do. I'm your host, Greg, and with me as always is Oscar and Irvin, and special guest. Please, ma'am, tell everybody who you are.
Hi, I'm Eliza Leon.
Nice to meet you.
All
Liz.
right.
That's it.
Yeah, that's all you need.
I like seeing everybody's reaction while you go through your little intro. I've been watching it. Everybody just kind of doesn't know what to do. They're just kind of like
It's very like it's meant to kind
flamboyant.
of get you in like, oh my god, like,
I
this
like
is
the
happening.
intro.
Thank you.
Greg made it up all by himself.
Yeah,
we
by
didn't tell him
himself.
anything.
Solito.
Very like Sábado Gigante
I'm a
inspired.
big
you know?
kid now.
That's some of our influences.
That's literally
Don Francisco,
Don Francisco.
Marco Antonio
He's
Regis.
a
Don Frank?
staple.
Or La Zeta, I used to listen to La Zeta, like El
radio
Zorro and
station.
everything. La Zeta! Like all that stuff.
I
Yeah.
miss Matute.
Oh my
Yeah,
god!
Matute por la mañana.
Hey.
La
I
que
used to
buena,
love that
hello.
guy.
Remember?
Que viene, hello.
He used to
What is
call
that? What is that other one?
El Piolín por la mañana.
Does anybody know what he looks like?
No, I
No?
don't.
Probably an
You don't?
older guy.
I
don't.
picture him as like a
At all.
5'5",
Nah.
like really chubby guy. Maybe like
Dark as fuck.
Yeah,
Damn.
I was gonna say that one last,
Your
but
laugh is like a
dark as
Es
fuck.
un güerillo, man.
Con el cuello,
güero.
con el
Güerillo
cuello,
con pelo rojo y ojos azules.
con el cuello todo roñoso.
That's my little girl's like that, dude.
Oh, but yeah, but we don't. Not everybody produces redheads.
Not everybody produces.
Oh yeah, dude, how the fuck did you do that? Did you do something special?
I don't know. I think she was. That's good.
Hey, that's el
That was
chavo.
questionable. But anyway, Eliza, nice to have you on the podcast. I have some questions for you already. So I was looking at some of the videos at Power Nation. Is that what it is?
Yes. I used to work for Power Nation series, and it was a show called Extreme Off-Road, and what we
Okay.
did was build off-road vehicles.
And how did you get involved with that company? And where do you guys film at, by the way? I was going to ask you.
It's filmed in Franklin, Tennessee, so
Oh, okay.
like 30 minutes south of Nashville.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, because I was looking at the video and I was like, that is not Texas, or at least El Paso for sure.
Right? Everything was green. I've never seen so many colors and shades of green until I got out over there.
Is the off-roading scene crazy over there or what?
It's different. It's very different. They have very, they have a lot of rocks and they're not necessarily mountains, but it's a very mountainous kind of terrain. But there's so many trees and shrubs and stuff, so like it allows for maybe like a side-by-side or a small Jeep, but definitely not full-size vehicles.
How did you end up over there? If you
Yeah, how
don't mind me asking.
did they approach you, or?
Kind of, a little bit of both. I was interested, so I guess 10 years back.
It all started.
It
10
all
years
started
back.
about 10 years back. I was very much into like the sand drags, hill climbs, and like any kind of off-road events.
Here in
And
El Paso?
and then because of that, I met some people that worked for MSD that kind of ended up out over there at Power Nation.
Okay.
And they gave them my information once they started looking for a co-host, a female co-host.
Oh, wow.
So you just
That's crazy.
packed up and left over there?
I did. They called me up. I interviewed, flew out over there. I built the top end of a motor, and then I showed them that I could weld.
Damn.
And they offered me a position. They're like, okay, well, we'll see you in a month. And so I came back home, packed all my things, and left.
Is that the interview process? Like they just had a welding thing ready to go for you?
Yeah,
No
yeah,
way.
it's part of the interview process. It is.
¿Qué hubole?
That's intimidating.
Did you go to school for that, welding?
No, I didn't. I picked up a lot of it working at the body shops that I used to work at when I was here in El Paso.
Oh, wow.
But I am ICAR trained and certified, which is like the collision fields kind of ASC certifications. And I went to Auto Tech at Riverside High School.
Auto tech.
Oh, right on.
Is that where the passion started at Autotech, or it kind of gained traction?
It gained traction for
Okay.
sure. I as far as I can remember, I was in love with my uncle's trucks and my dad's truck.
Ford or
and,
Chevy?
I can't even answer that just because I love them all. I want
Okay.
them all.
Okay, definitely.
Yeah, and Gravedigger definitely
Oh.
had like the biggest
He's the best.
He's the best.
inspiration for me. I was
I'm
like,
saying he's the best.
yeah.
Greg just jizzed his
I love
pants.
that. I love that.
What kind of truck did your grandpa have? Or
His uncle, her uncle's.
My uncle had a 76 side by side. I'm sorry, 76 Chevy step side.
okay.
And my dad had a 48 Willis pickup.
Willis, I don't even know what that is. And you just started getting into them and just messing with them, or what?
Yeah. Yeah,
cool.
I was very lucky that they would always tell me, like, okay, go get this. I was their gopher for a long time, and
And you slowly
slowly
climbed
started
the
picking
ranks.
up. Yeah, I did.
Climb the ranks. Why do Mexicans call them Caja California?
What is that?
The step
Like how,
sides.
I don't know.
My dad always said, "Oh, la Caja California." I'm like,
Isn't that the
okay.
size of the cabin?
No.
No.
That's the
Isn't that a king? Isn't that a California king bed?
no.
Well, it's similar, kind of.
Probably yeah. The step sides, the one that have like the steps on the side, and then it has like the dualies. It has the
Yeah,
like
it has,
the flares.
those wheel flares.
Yeah. So they like in Spanish, like, oh, sí, la Caja California, and I'm like, okay, well,
I've heard them referred to as that, but I've also heard them referred to as las nalgonas.
yeah,
That's not-
las dualies, yeah. My dad used to, like, he owned one dually, a blue Chevy. It sounded super cool. And they're like, ah, está la nalgona. I'm like, okay.
Dude,
guess-
I feel like I know the least of.
No, I don't.
vehicles.
No,
I think
trust
you
me,
know the
I'm here.
most from us. So
Oh, hell no.
Well,
Hell no.
probably here's probably
I know
Eliza,
I read
you.
the brochure.
It's probably Eliza, you, then me, and then Irvin.
that's
I
what
know,
I'm saying.
like,
I'm gonna
that's about it.
I'm gonna need translations throughout the whole episode
Yeah.
of what you guys are
We'll
talking
put
Well,
some
about.
subtitles.
That's why I thought it was super cool to bring Liza here,
Yeah.
because
Oh, thank you.
she knows like extensive amount
About
of things, and I always ask her, I'm like, so Liza, what should I get for this?
Nice.
What should I do for this? So yeah, that's why I wanted to bring her, because I think it's super cool.
Thank you.
That you know so much about automotive. And then one of the things is, how hard is it to be a girl in the automotive industry? As far as was it different, the automotive industry here in El Paso and then Tennessee? Like how well received were you? Or is it even
That's-
different?
Well, it is different. I guess now looking back on things, like you kind of start to see, like, oh, okay, I was meeting resistance for being a female in the automotive community. But at the time,
You didn't really
just
think
so,
about it.
Yeah, you're just so persistent and stubborn, and you're going for the gold. So you kind of really don't see it. As
Don't
it's
even see
happening.
that ceiling or
Yeah.
anything.
But yeah, El Paso and Tennessee are two very different places. And then also, I mean, when I started working in the automotive community, I was 17, 18, and so there was a couple of females that I could look up to as role models, such as Jessie Combs, Courtney Hansen, and a bunch of other, like Rachel DeBarrios and Bogey.
And these are all off-roading girls.
No,
Or they're just
a
working automotive in general.
Yeah, in all sorts of disciplines. But I think sometimes I was met with resistance by like some of the older people that were concerned that I wouldn't have the strength like to make sure that everything was bolted down or torqued down properly.
Really?
Yeah, and so because of that, I became very mindful of that fact and started to do things kind of the way the dealerships would, like, with pen, market, and make sure that everything was torqued down and just like kind of make sure that my clientele felt safe after
Okay.
I worked on their vehicles.
So it wasn't really like much of a like, oh, you're a woman, you're not gonna know. It was more of a, oh, you don't have the strength to do stuff. So it wasn't really a matter of whether you know or not. It was just more like, oh, she's not gonna have the strength to pick up
Kind
a
of
CV
that,
joint or something.
as well as yeah, I would constantly get asked like, how did you end up here? Which I know that was kind of like a polite way to say, okay, hi,
What are you doing here?
yeah, what are you doing here, and do you know what you're doing?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was, that's why I always figured that my technical education was very important, because then I could tell them that I was ICAR certified, or that I had some of my ASCs done, or that, I was trained at Autotech.
And everybody that you spoke to, they had that kind of knowledge of what this was. Or like your general guy going to like the shop, you tell him that, and he's all looking at you like, ¿Y qué es eso?
I got both.
Yeah,
I got both.
okay.
Yeah, the people that understood, or that are in the automotive field one way or another. As soon as I would mention those kind of certifications, they'd be like, "Oh, okay, you know what you're doing." And the others who didn't, they would just kind of nod their head, smile and say. And I would tell them, if you feel more comfortable with another tech working on it, that's fine, but you're going to have to wait. And so usually when you put it into that kind of perspective, then they're like, well, no, I need my vehicle, so go ahead and work on it.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think that's super awesome that
It's
you
been a
never saw that
challenge,
barrier.
But I want to say it would probably be the same challenges that any other new tech would face.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's super awesome that you never saw that barrier, or you didn't think there was such thing as a barrier like that. I think that's really cool because
Thank you.
I was telling Greg, I'm like, the playing field is level no matter who you are.
Yeah.
If you really work hard and you
Right,
put in
right.
that extra mileage, you're gonna get it.
True.
I
But
agree.
Greg is like, no.
Shut up. We're not gonna have this conversation again. Not
Yeah.
right now.
Okay.
No, but I get what you're saying.
I'm curious to
I
see
get
what
what
your
you're saying.
take on that is.
No, I was being like, I always live in the extremes is basically what Oscar pointed out, which is true. I was just saying, like, to say that the opportunity, is always there, but some people do. What is that noise? Sorry. Some people do land like a little bit on the, farther from the goal than some people. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that you can't rise above, and that was never like the issue. It's like, of course you can rise above, but of course there's some people who just already kind of are born like really, really way behind the finish line. You know what I'm saying? That's all I was saying.
Yeah, I would agree that that's true.
Right.
But I think in the automotive field, I think you have a good opportunity to be your own boss.
Yeah.
To have your own business if you like, or to be able to succeed and do a really good job without having the 4-year degree, or without having a whole lot of formalities. It's about talent, but a lot of it is more about like the work that you want to put into the whatever you're doing.
And the experience, right? I mean, that speaks volumes. I'm actually gonna break into the HVAC. I'm going to school for HVAC, and every 99% of the people you talk to is like, what do you look for in a tech? And they say knowledge and experience. That's like number one thing. You can know everything about the book, but it's like, have you done it? Have you touched this piece of equipment? Have you replaced it? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you know what it sounds like just by just put your ear to it? It's like, oh, I know what's wrong, and like that stuff goes a long way. So it doesn't matter if you're a girl, boy, whatever. Yeah.
So being that you're in the trades as well, it's just something that fascinates me. Is especially talking about like experience.
Yeah.
Have you found it difficult to get over that hump of not having experience and being like kind of like a newbie in the trades?
Yeah, like honestly, I'm still struggling with that just because I haven't. I have like zero experience right now. I'm still going to school, so like it is very daunting. Like you see that hill, you see these seasoned people, and like it's a little intimidating.
Lorries?
And I would, huh?
Lorries?
Lorries? What's
They're
that?
seasoned?
I like Lori seasoning.
Yeah, it's good,
about?
delicious.
I'm like,
Okay, so you see the seasoned people.
You see the seasoned people, and I understand like where that comes from, like the people who just don't want to put in the effort. Because I see that, and I was like, oh, that's a long way up, and I can see why people just want to stay down here. It's like, I'm just gonna stay here. But I mean, I don't see it that way. I definitely want to get to that level.
You just gotta be confident, really confident, and sell yourself like even if you don't know how to do it, just do it. Like sell yourself like you already know how to do it, and surround yourself with like the people that know how to do it, and they'll hook you up.
True.
Yeah, I think that's something that maybe social media has kind of taken away from the trades itself, whether it be like welding, HVAC, automotive building and stuff, is that everybody is so good and perfect on social media that it becomes to one of those that it feels like you can't break into the trades.
True.
And I was very, very lucky that my first job as an apprentice, and I don't even know if I don't hear that word often anymore, apprenticeship. Okay. And I think that's something that maybe the trades needs to bring back, to make sure that the new generation of people that are taking over the trades not only feel comfortable in the area that they've decided to work in, but also to kind of have somebody to guide them in proper practice and stuff. I was very lucky that I had a mentor.
What do you think that is? Because I've heard from a lot of people that part of it is some of the old timers. They don't. It's because that knowledge is very valuable, and like they kind of are very choosy with who they choose to give that to. Like they're very particular because once they give that knowledge, then everybody knows. So and they don't want to lose that job. Obviously the job security and stuff. So do you think there's something that has something to do with it?
Yeah, I would agree. So, the trades market is so different now than it was back then. You would see like people that have chosen their profession or did an apprenticeship like early on, like 16, 17, 18, and they've, followed up with their careers. And
Yeah.
but I think that has to do with like the companies. You see a lot of like the dealerships that are, moving away from seniority and moving away from like pairing up techs, like so that way they continue, training each other.
Okay.
I think it's just because it became easier to gain a lot of money in such a expedited way. That a lot of young kids don't really want to get dirty or nothing like that. It's like, I don't need to do that because I can do everything else and gain as much money as that. So they don't really put value into learning, into really putting in the hours.
That is true.
And even getting their hands a little dirty,
Yeah, being an apprentice is definitely not for the faint of heart. I was hazed, I guess, per se, and I was the catch-all to all the stuff that, nobody else wanted to do.
Yeah, definitely. The blue collar kind of job involves a lot of you have to grow thick skin.
Oh, yes.
Really
That
thick
was something
skin.
I wanted to ask her about how your experiences have kind of shaped your personality, or have you had to kind of develop a thick skin?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. So, like I said, being an apprentice, I had to develop, a thick skin and not take things so personally, which it's hard, especially when you love what you're doing. You don't want to have somebody come back and critique your work and tell you that there's room for improvement. It kind of feels like they're attacking you personally. But once I got over that mindset that my work was, an extension of me rather than, what my experience was and putting my stuff together, then I was able to kind of be able to receive a little bit criticism, yeah, a lot better than what I had originally started with. As well as like, you get, and I think this is just in general with the trades itself, they're very much like shop talk, you kind of have to roll with the punches.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, how hard? I mean, I don't think it was hard, but like you said, you grew thick skin. I mean, being a beautiful woman in the industry, I'm pretty sure men were like, "Holy bejesus, what is going on here?"
I was
a lot of
either
catcalling or something. Yeah.
Yeah, there was catcalling and stuff. I think, like, for the most part, what worked for me is whenever people would tell me stuff, whether it be vulgar or not, or an unintentional, like, compliment or backhanded compliments, I would just say, I would ask them, would you have said that if I was a man? And most
You would confront them?
most of the time they would kind of think about it and say, well, no, I wouldn't. And I said, then
Depends on what you look like. No, I'm just kidding.
You're a really feminine
Right.
man.
You look like Greg.
If you're like Brad Pitt,
right.
If you look like Greg.
probably.
I did a internship in the police department, and it was interesting to see that a lot of the women in there act like kind of like guys. Like they're very
Yeah.
also, even to me, they'd be like, hey, like a little cat calling me.
Yeah.
And I was just, it was interesting to see how they kind of assimilated to the culture that was already in the police department, because I feel like they feel forced to have to act that way. If they don't, they're kind of outed a little bit, and they feel like they're not
Stick out.
protected. They might feel like out in the like on the streets when a danger occurs, like, oh, maybe they won't have my back if they don't think like I'm
You're
part
part
of the blue or whatever, So it was interesting to see how they acted in there.
It is. It's definitely something that I'm definitely very assimilated into the, shop talk and banter and everything else that goes on. But it's at the end of the day, it's all about, respecting each other's boundaries and stuff. So I've been able a bit up until now, knock on wood, that I've been able to set boundaries and be able to have a good work relationship with my coworkers and it not completely step out of bounds of what makes me comfortable.
Yeah. I think at
but it's
the
kind
end
of
of
one-
the day, it's up to you. Like, because guys are, I don't know, we're kind of nasty. We're not gonna. I think if the woman lets you go as far as she'll let you, like, you'll go. You know what I mean?
It's just, I think
would
it's
agree.
it's just the setting. Because if you go in an office setting and if you do like a like a blue collar type of setting is totally different.
Yeah,
I think it's totally different.
It is.
Like a construction area.
Yeah.
Compared to like a call center. Yeah, it's not the same.
Cultures, dude.
I don't have much experience outside of automotive. I did an apprenticeship in DC, and that was like completely different to what I was doing beforehand. So I kind of felt like a fish out of water. But outside of that, I've worked at Western Playland when I was really, really young. And then Bath and Body Works for 2 weeks,
bandido.
and everything else has been automotive related. So
El bandido.
people will ask me, like, what's the difference in the culture like between like an office setting and shop setting? I really don't have that answer.
Well, she went to school in DC. She went to school in
no
DC
way.
and
For political science, right?
Yes.
science.
I heard
I stopped
traffic
you a
there
little
is
bit.
terrible.
Huh?
I heard the traffic there is terrible.
Oh, it's horrific.
Really?
Two
I've never been.
2 hours for like 10 miles.
Oh my goodness.
What was it
Yeah.
like studying political science in DC, which I mean is the
It was-
capital of politics?
It was exciting. It was very exciting. But I quickly found out that while I love to read about government and policy and how it should be implemented, I wasn't cut out for the actual work itself.
You just didn't really have a love for it. Is that what you're trying to say? Or?
No, I had a love for it, but I couldn't remove like my personal feelings
Oh, I see.
from the work itself.
Right.
So I was noticing that I was taking like my work home with me and
Yeah.
vice versa, and it just didn't work
It
out.
was too consuming.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question regarding to that because so it's obvious that you're very passionate about automotives and all that stuff. So you're even I think on your Instagram it even says you're a gearhead. You've labeled yourself as a gearhead.
Do you know who Simone
So,
Gertz is?
Okay, just go ahead and throw it.
Sorry.
No, I don't.
Oh, okay, never mind. Go ahead.
Sorry.
So I'm a textbook overthinker, so I have to ask: do you ever fear that, since it's your passion, automotive, do you ever fear that since you're doing that as a job as well, do you ever fear that you're gonna like fall out of love with it faster, or you're gonna associate it with work?
No, I've been really lucky that I haven't. Granted, there have been some jobs that I leave completely exhausted to where I don't want to work on my own vehicles.
Yeah.
But I've never run into where I would feel like I just don't want to do this anymore.
Okay.
She loves it. She has a passion
Yeah,
for
yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's a question we like to ask guests. Like, what are you passionate about? What are some things? So, it seems like other than mechanics, or is that what you call it? Mechanics? You're interested in politics as well? Is that something is that fair to say? Or what are some other things that you're passionate about?
So the policy and stuff, I feel very strongly about it just because I feel that as a society as a whole that we've kind of moved away from having like personal responsibility and accountability and holding our policy makers accountable for stuff because we've become very
Sheep. You just follow.
I would hate to
listen,
say sheep, but I would say lazy. That we don't want to look into
Right.
what
Critical
people,
thinking.
Yeah, critical thinking, and I definitely think that's a product of social media and like having everything so accessible to us. We have so much information that it's an overload of information.
True.
To kind of sort through everything that's junk news or that's actually real news is hard to do, and I don't think that like newspapers, publications, and news stations, they don't have the luxury anymore of doing like in-depth reporting.
Right. Well, I mean, there's ignorance is always bliss, and
It
and
definitely
I understand
is.
why that is. I mean, that's a big. We're Hispanic. We all know like how important faith is, especially in the Hispanic community. Because when you're out there and you're lost, and something comes and tells you, "Hey, I have all the answers. You just have to do this." Obviously, you would be like, "Oh, really? That's all I have to do?" Of course, that's so appealing. But if you just take a second to think critically, that's when it gets kind of like, oh man, like maybe I'm not right. No, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to the safe. Let's be safe about it.
On the last episode, we had his name was Gilbert. He's really into politics as well, and he gave us his opinion on the current state of politics. What's your opinion on how things are going, like with Trump or like the impeachment?
Oh my gosh, I think I've kind of removed myself from
He did too.
from like watching all of this stuff. I think it was definitely like right after Obama's second term and once Hillary and Trump were running against each other, and it just kind of became like a slander show where everybody was name calling each other, and
Very high school, huh?
Yeah, I was disgusted. I was disgusted that we've, as a society, allowed for that to happen.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because of that, I don't have a good, honest opinion of what I feel about it because I quit watching.
Right.
It was heartbreaking. So
I've never even followed it, to be
No?
honest. Nah, I'm gonna vote this time
Yeah,
just
I think
because
I need to.
I feel like I have to, but yeah, I've never even thought about it, or I don't like to get defensive as far as politics, but I do like to see the side of both coins, both coins, both sides on the coin.
That makes sense.
So I don't want to like when we have conversations about, Trump has said this and is that, like, well, I mean, did he really say that, or
Yeah.
did it really happen that way? Like, I like to be that person, and it's not well received because they think that I'm for Trump. It's like, I'm not for Trump. I'm just
Devil's
for
advocate.
You're just neutral.
for being like, get the facts. Let's just get the facts, and that's about
Like,
it.
try not
I
to-
agree with you. I think we need more people that are willing to talk about, policy and politics and their beliefs on a level to where people don't get offended.
Right.
And it's just being like, let me hear you out and why you feel this way and what's your truth about things. Because definitely here, living on the border to living in Tennessee, there's truth to a lot of stuff that's going on. It's just whose truth is that and where's it
Right,
coming
right.
from? But I think a lot of people that will kind of remove themselves from the area that they grew up in and then leave and come back will see the differences in different cities. It's a whole different
Oh, yeah.
world.
What are some things you learned that you would like to share from over there that you think people should maybe know from here?
I would have to say that we live in a very special place here in El Paso, to where the Hispanic culture and people are very sheltered. I think because we don't face so many different situations that we kind of forget that we have all of these freedoms and we don't take advantage of them. As living out east, both in DC as well as in Tennessee, I faced a lot of racial discrimination. And it was hard for me to accept because I definitely grew up in the mindset like, oh, you know what, racism has died off. We've fought for it. We've had all of our, the movements to better things. And while that may be the case here in this area or in border towns, it's not the case everywhere.
Right. And you hear that a lot, like, as you're growing up, from, like, even as a young age, like little sports teams going out in high school, going to even Lubbock, and they come back and they're like, hey, they kind of treated us a little differently over there. Like, what's happening? And then the coach has to explain to them, hey, listen.
Even in Odessa, when I was working over there, like the white people over there, like they were different and they didn't like people from El Paso. One of my foremen used to wear a Confederate flag, so just to piss him off, I would take off my shirt and put on a Mexican cap
Oh my
and walk
gosh.
around like that. It's like, say something. But he was a big white guy, like a polar bear. But
Like a
I wasn't gonna
Like
back
a
down.
polar.
Come on.
Just people don't grow up around the same culture. Like here, like we were saying, it's very unique, and I didn't realize that until I went to basic. Like when I went to basic training, there's people who've never ever seen like a Hispanic,
A
person.
Mexican.
Oh, yeah.
They came to me and they're like, they're like, do you speak Spanish? And I'm like, yes. but you speak English too. And I'm like, yep.
You don't- but you don't look Mexican, though.
Yeah, that's what they told me too. Like, so you're Mexican? Like, there was a guy from Juarez in my flight too. He left out of El Paso too,
Okay.
and we ended up in the same basic training. It was pretty cool.
Oh, neat.
And his name was damn, I wish I didn't.
Pancho Francisco.
Aguirre. His last name was Aguirre. So you're like Aguirre. So but he speaks different than you, and I'm like, yes, because he grew up in Mexico and I didn't.
He had the accent.
So yeah,
Oye, ¿qué
so
pasó?
they were confused. They were like, "How come you sound different? How come you sound like more like American?" I'm like, "Cause I am an American. I was born in America."
Did you, once moving over there, did you find yourself kind of gravitating towards more Mexican people just naturally? Was it a natural reaction, or did you try and?
At first it was, but different areas of the United States have like different pockets of Latin descent or, where they're from. So like in Tennessee, we had a large population of Peruvian and Salvadorian. And so unfortunately, there was a lot of, there was a clash between the cultures there.
They don't
where
like Mexicans.
They don't. They
Really?
and-
Peruvians
they
don't like
don't.
Mexicans? Oh,
no.
man.
Well, I don't want to say that like as a blanket statement.
have a
Yeah,
friend.
I mean, I'm
They-
pretty sure there's a handful of them that have grown to love us, but in general, yeah, they don't like us.
I have a
And I
friend
think
who's
it's-
actually going to the Peace Corps in Peru, so good luck, Miguel. They don't like you.
It's a mirror,
I
right?
I think it's more because when they come here, they're met with the "you're a dirty Mexican"
Yeah.
kind of deal, and
Right.
so because of the way that maybe that they've been through the process in the United States, they've developed like the connotation that Mexican equals bad.
Kind of
Yeah.
bias.
Yeah.
What about Washington? How was it over there?
Oh man, that was just kind of a rat race, and it's a different kind of vibe over there. There was a lot of Puerto Rican people, and as well as like people from like the interior of Mexico, like close by like the capital.
The
And stuff.
DF?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and so and there everybody's just trying to earn their way over there too. So I was met with some resistance within the Latin community. If you don't end up with like your kind, you're kind of still an outsider within the Spanish-speaking community.
I was like that in high school because I really didn't hang out with like the people that I grew up with. When I got to high school, I kind of went away and I started hanging out with like the English-speaking people and everything. And they kind of told me, I was like, "What the hell happened to you? Like, where you at?" And I'm like, "Well, learn some English, bitch." And like,
Come to get to my level.
yeah, it's crazy like the way we kind of separate each other, ostracize each other. If you don't follow that guidelines, like you're not part of us. Like vete de aquí. Like Chicanos, we're Chicanos. 'Cause
Yeah.
we're American first and then Mexicans.
Because I think
Yeah.
you're naturally form groups to protect yourself, like,
tribes, yeah, we're
Yes.
very tribal.
you don't want to be the only one out.
Do you remember
Like in
what-
prison, like that's what people do. You go with the
You
white
have
people,
to.
you
You
Yeah.
have in prison. Like I've been to prison many times, right?
The second year was the roughest.
I just watched too many videos on YouTube.
I watched
and
Shawshank
Netflix.
Redemption.
Oh my god, I was there with Morgan Freeman. Yeah, we were. He was in that movie. The
I've
Shawshank-
never seen it.
Never seen it?
No.
Oh my god,
Which
it's a
was that
good
one?
movie.
It's a good movie.
Which one's
Very
that
good
one?
movie.
Andy
Shawshank
Dufresne?
Redemption. Just look up Shawshank Redemption.
No, I know what you're talking about. What happens?
He gets well.
Don't tell him.
Yeah, I know.
Just
Watch it.
Just
Isn't
watch
it from like 1960 or some
No.
60.
Not bad.
Holy bit, Jesus.
Stupid. Yeah.
shit? Thank you, Greg.
You're uncultured fuck. I just get that. Sorry.
Oh my God.
We're just playing
My
around.
ears.
Get it out. Get it out, Greg.
Motherfucking,
I was gonna say,
motherfucking.
so you lived in D.C. Did you ever encounter some sort of a sculpture that led you to a catacomb to the National Treasure?
No, but I wish I had.
would've been
That movie's ridiculous.
Imagine if
man.
she said yes to that.
That movie's ridiculous.
Only
matter
found
of
two
fact-
doubloons.
The cool thing about DC though is that you cannot, stand somewhere and it not be some sort of historic landmark.
Okay.
So I mean, I spent a lot of my time going to like the Smithsonian's and checking out all
that's
of like the different historical sites and events that happened around the area. It was amazing. I definitely recommend for people to go visit DC because I don't know, when you see those monuments, especially
Yeah.
Lincoln Monument, and you see the Declaration of Independence and stuff, and it's amazing.
Patriotism has died in the United States somewhat.
Died down.
But I still find it amazing that we live in this country, and I feel freaking awesome that I'm part of this.
I do too.
Yeah,
definitely.
As
Definitely.
crazy as
diehard
it gets, like
patriot.
it's still.
It's still I love being American.
Yeah.
No, have you ever seen pictures of New Zealand and you're like, damn it.
Nah, not even.
No, I'm
I'd go to visit, but then I'll come right back.
Those
Like,
people look happy.
they don't off road in New Zealand. What the fuck?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I highly doubt it. We should take one of your builds and just rip it over there in New Zealand.
Yes.
For sure, though, that's something I want to do. Travel more and because as we
Off-road more?
live here, I mean, we have. Oh no! I mean, we have this perspective, like, oh yeah, America's the greatest, and of course, because we grew up here, we have no other like.
We're top 10.
So like
Pretty good.
One of the episodes we're gonna have one of my friends who's Chinese, and you have all of these like maybe misconceptions of Chinese.
Yeah.
She's actually part of the Communist Party, and she's like, I want to really try and dispel a lot of the ideas that people have of China. So she wants to tune in for that one.
I'm gonna.
She wants
Sounds
to
interesting.
talk about it, and she's like, I really want
Convert
to
us.
tell people what it's really like, and because we have these ideas, and also maybe other countries. Everybody talks about their own country, like, no, Spain's the best. We have free healthcare. We have this. Oh, Europe, all these things. So it's just like,
You don't think there's a country that people would be like, this place sucks?
yeah, there probably is.
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, everybody's proud of where they're from. So I mean, I don't think you'll ever meet a person that says like this place sucks. I mean, I'm pretty sure if they live in like impoverished areas, like they're gonna be like, man,
religious persecution.
the place sucks, but I'm this is where I'm from. Wow, you're talking about other things, man. Persecution, holy bejesus,
imagine.
that's terrible. Well, according to the Bible, there's gonna be persecution met everywhere. Like if you believe in Christ,
Right.
if you proclaim His name, like you're gonna be met with beheading.
What?
So I mean, all these
Everywhere?
crazy things that the Bible says. Sarah's all like, "Yeah, I don't like the Bible."
It doesn't say nice things.
Yeah,
Well, it
doesn't.
says a lot of nice things, but then it throws in like some whack stuff.
It's
You're
like-
well, wait, hold, go back to that
It's like the
one.
Sour Patch Kids.
Go back
first
to
is
that
sweet.
one
I would be
part.
the first to admit I'm not a great Catholic.
All right.
I
don't
mean,
think
I
either
grew
of us
up
are.
Catholic, you know, and I've practiced, you know, being a good person.
Yeah.
But I really haven't read a whole lot.
I think
of the
that's all you
Bible.
really need. Just be a good person. I don't think you really need to like
For
dive
the-
into like
Right.
the Bible and all
Because
that.
for the most
Just don't
part,
kill anyone.
people
You'll be
who are
fine.
religious, like Christians and stuff, are like some of the most like nice people you've ever met. You know what I'm saying?
Because they're taught those values from a young
And
age.
that's a good thing. It does teach you a lot of good things. It's just a lot of like wax.
There's other stuff
thrown
that's
in
like,
there.
oh, whoa,
Like, how come we're not doing
Slow
this,
down.
huh?
slow it down, slow your roll, buddy.
Actually, last time we were talking about that, about we're touching up on some political topics, and one of them that I watched the episode later, and I was like, "What the?" We had said about gay marriage, and we were like, "Oh, like it should be fine, of course, for gay people."
Oh,
to
but then the
get married,
church.
but the church to decide, right? Because
Right.
we had brought that up.
Yes.
But then, if you really think about that, like what's to say that can extend to other things? Like, then people can also deny you for being gay. Why can't they deny you for being black?
For
you know what
being
I'm trying
Hispanic.
to say? Or
Oh,
being
our
Hispanic.
church.
So it gets
Oh.
real, like.
But I've said that
That's not
before.
against the Bible. I had to be black.
I've said that before though, that a lot of people identify their sexuality as
Yeah.
their identity. So it's like if you're pretty much being a racist if you
Yeah,
if
like
you
it's
tell them like, oh, like our church doesn't accept gay people. It's
Right.
Like, it's like saying our church doesn't accept white.
See,
or our
like-
church doesn't accept
like that instance how you were
Hispanic.
talking about that kick shop, or what was it?
Oh, there's a shop that refused to help out a wedding because it was a gay people and they don't believe
Yeah.
in those values or whatever. So they're like, nah, we don't.
But
we
you don't
refuse
think that's
service.
like kind of similar to denying like a Mexican or a black person?
No.
I would equate it as the same thing because you're denying someone based on something they have no control
Well,
over.
that's a slippery slope.
You know what I mean?
That's a slippery slope because they have the choice to whether to do it or not. But in our eyes, we're all like, well, you're pretty much denying a person their right to your services. But it's their choice whether they want to serve them or not. Like,
But I'm saying like, how is that not the same as denying a
What?
Mexican?
I'm
or
not
black
saying that
person?
it's not the
He's
same.
saying, yeah.
But I'm saying like you're pretty much telling them that they don't have that choice. You know, to
I don't think they should.
well, there
Just
you
like-
go.
Just like they don't have the choice.
Well, there you go. You can't do that.
Just like they don't have the choice to deny a black person.
Well,
Yeah,
see,
they do, but then they'll be like,
But
hey,
they'll be
racist.
ostracized. Yeah, they'll be like, oh yeah, they'll be pointed
Yeah,
out.
I think that's-
just
And
like
Still-
right now,
and they still
they're
were pointed out. There were people who were like, "What the
Yeah.
fuck?" You know?
Like, why are you denying gay people?
Now that I thought about it afterwards, I was like, I think that's only fair
Yeah.
that way. You know?
Pero we go back to everybody having free the free will, free choice.
Right, right.
Everybody has their choice whether to serve them or not. Like that's just how it is. It's like
that wouldn't
abortion.
happen in China. I tell
Like
you that.
women should have their choice to abort or not. Like their religious views like have nothing to do with their choice. Like
Right.
they shouldn't have a say in what they want to do with their bodies. So I think that's all. That's where it comes down to. Like people having the choice to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Except kill people. Dad, don't kill people.
You do have the choice. It's just not.
Well, that's what
Against
makes
the rules.
the United States such an awesome country to be in is that we're allowed, you know,
So many freedoms.
yeah, we're allowed the freedoms to do a lot of things. And granted, I don't think it's right when, you know, we impose our beliefs onto somebody else. But I think if we as a society started to practice, you know, just being good human beings, I think a lot of these problems would, you know, kind of not go away, but in the least it would soften the blow to some of the stuff because, you know, I have been refused services before and it
Yeah.
feels horrible. Or even when you're treated badly, you know, the first thing, your instinct is just to like, you know what, okay, I'm out of here, I'm leaving. But then that doesn't solve anything, not on our part, not on their part. You know, we have to work with each other.
Right.
Yeah.
whether we want to or not sometimes. And so, you know, I was able to turn around and say, like, you know what, I know you don't want to work with me here, but, you know, you've got a service that I need and I've got the money that your business needs. So
Yeah.
let's just, you know, work through it. And that was the hardest 5 minutes that I've ever spent in my life was, you know, waiting for, you know, I had been to a store and I was waiting for them, you know, to prepare my documents and stuff. And they were not happy. I was not happy. But when I left there, I said, okay, I could have ran and gone somewhere else. But then what good does that do anybody?
Yeah.
Right.
Was this a racial thing? Like,
Yeah, it was a racial thing. I was getting some leaflets printed at a store, and when I walked in, you know, I guess they didn't think I spoke English, and so it was kind of one of those things. They're on the phone, and they're like, "Oh, here comes another dirty Mexican. I'll call you later." And of course, when I introduced myself and asked, you know, what I needed and stuff, they just kind of looked at me like blank stare, like, "Oh, she speaks English," and she was, you know, they were just giving me a really hard time about, you know, getting the prices for the printing and how long they would be done. And I walked out of there with my stuff, sat in my Jeep for a little bit and said, okay, well, the next place that I can go to is close to about 45 minutes away from where I was. I was like, I shouldn't have to get into my vehicle and drive somewhere else just because somebody here treated me badly.
Right.
So I walked back in and said, you know what? I understand I make you uncomfortable and I'm sorry, but I really need this done.
Yeah.
you treated it just as professionally, and
I tried.
it
It
sounds
was
like
hard.
you did.
It was hard.
I bet.
Respect.
It's
man.
very hard.
Yeah, definitely.
Are you the oldest of the sisters?
Yes.
Yeah. What is? Because I'm curious. Since I mean, you seem like you've had a lot of experiences, and you seem like a very smart woman.
Thank you.
Like, how has it
You
been?
seem or are you?
Listen, I'm still,
You have the
Yeah, you pretty much
experience.
prepared yourself for this. Wrote some notes down.
do you have a script? Like, how's it
don't.
been being the eldest of the sisters, and do you feel like a role model? Like, do you feel like you have a responsibility to share your lessons with your younger sisters? Or how many sisters do you have?
I have two sisters.
Okay.
Two younger sisters. I love being the older sister. And I've been very fortunate to where, I mean, life hasn't always gone as planned for me. And,
don't
you know,
think it
that,
ever does.
It doesn't.
and
Whoever's
I've
life got as
definitely-
planned, you're a lucky boy.
Right. But I mean, I don't want to call myself like a bad person, but I definitely think I was kind of like more of the dark horse of the family.
Okay.
So there have been some times that I do, you know, tell my sisters, hey, you know what, if you can avoid doing this and this outcome, then do it. You know, I wish somebody would have told me that growing
Yeah.
up, but I didn't have that older sibling. But then again, you know, I don't want to be a mom sibling either because
Right.
they gotta
Experience those
they
things.
gotta go through life and have their own experiences to make
Yeah.
it, you know, their own.
Yeah.
So yeah, being a role model, yeah, it was something that you know my family has always told me, like, you know, be careful what you do because your sisters are watching.
Oh, they would tell you.
Oh, yeah.
That's pressure right there.
That was pressure, but you know, it's definitely kept me out of a lot of trouble because I would think to myself, okay, I'm gonna have to explain this to not only my mom, my family, but to my sisters, and I know that growing up, you know, they look up to me, and so if they figure that if I can do it, then they can
do
too.
it.
Yeah, so it's made a difference in the way I thought. Because, I mean, I'm 7 and 9 years older than them. So I was very much aware of my behavior when
Yeah,
they
that's
when
what I was
they
gonna
came.
say. So
Create
every
that
decision,
path.
Yeah.
Yeah, create
every-
that path for them.
every decision was a little bit, you know, tougher, or you had to work harder.
Yeah, I think it was more so with like misbehaving
Oh,
is
okay.
more, is more the thing I would have to think to myself, like, do I really want to explain, you know, why I took this path instead of the other
Oh, I
to
see.
them.
Right.
And I wouldn't say so much for like work or like school and stuff, but I would definitely say more for like the partying, the drinking, the, you know, I knew if I was hiding it from my mom and my sisters, then I shouldn't be doing it. And so that was kind of one of those things it's saved me in a lot of
So
situations.
you
Actually,
never felt the need to rebel. I'm the oldest too, so I
think it's
went
more of a
completely
guy
in a
thing,
different
though.
direction. Like,
I don't
well,
think
like I said, I
don't
I
think
was
so.
kind of more of the dark horse growing up. So if you ask my mom, she thinks I'm like the complete
right.
prototype of rebellion.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Rebellion, anarchy.
There's a little bit of stigma everything you do when you're the oldest, like
It
you kind of
is.
feel a little bit of like judgment.
Well, I'm the
Yeah.
middle child, so I wouldn't know because I always did whatever the I wanted,
did.
regardless.
did.
So I never cared.
I honestly think rebelliousness. Of course, females also show that tendency, but I think in males it's a lot more like. Every guy I know has rebelled, like in a certain way at a certain age. Even me, like I thought I was a good kid, and it's like, damn, I was fucked up. Like when I was a younger kid.
Okay, he wasn't that bad.
But like
This guy.
I did some weird shit that I shouldn't have done.
Like what?
Yeah, I licked the cat once.
Like
peanut
cat.
In the anus.
Oh
It
no!
involved peanut butter, and just kidding.
I
Oh.
mean,
No,
speaking
but-
of cats and cat buttholes.
Yeah.
Do you know that they have like little jewel thingies that you can put like on their tail so it covers
No way.
Covers-
That's
Cigarette.
terrible.
Yes.
That's bad.
so you don't have to see it. You just like
So
put
you-
a cover over it.
What are they gonna
poop
do
on
that
it?
for the dog balls too? They're gonna put something there?
Dude,
I don't
you
know.
could just chop them off like I did.
No, don't do
I
that.
did.
Well, you have to,
Shut
so
the
they don't have
culo.
puppies.
Yeah, man. then there are a bunch
No.
of street
Okay, I'm gonna
dogs
cut
out
yours ya pa que no tengas, güey.
there. Fine. I already had 2. I'm good.
He needs.
And I'm gonna take your babies away too,
Good.
Wait.
Why?
just to make it mean.
To make it, oh.
Yeah.
Damn.
I'm not gonna take care of them though. I'm not gonna lie.
I want to go back to the mechanic stuff because I want to be educated.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's why Liza. That's
do
why
you
we
cars?
brought Liza
What,
here.
what is a car? Just kidding.
Irvin goes, how do you car?
Oh, we were talking about the
depends on what
Tesla
type
car
of-
last time.
Oh, okay. But I wanted to ask you, like, what are some things that excite you right now about in mechanics? Like, what is something that you're like,
Cybertruck.
That's a right now.
Okay, the Cybertruck is pretty cool. Only because, I mean, that's something we've never really seen before. I'm really excited to see how that's going to work out. I know that they have like portals on all wheels, so each wheel has its own little motor and gear set
Right.
per se.
Have you had to adjust to because everything's shifting right to electrical?
Yeah, I have had to adjust and keep up with different trainings and stuff to be able to meet, I guess, the diagnostic process as well as to making like aftermarket stuff work with vehicles. I've had to keep up with the trends. Yeah.
As far for mechanics, do you think it's gonna be easier or harder once this transition is completed to electric vehicles? Like, is it easier to work on those electric cars, or is it a lot harder?
It's just different.
Okay.
I don't know that I would say it's harder one way or the other because I mean different mechanics have different specialties per se, and mine has always been suspension. But now
Okay.
with suspension becoming live suspension, it's definitely changed a lot of
Can
how.
you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so most of your suspension components now have modules that speak constantly to like engine control modules or transmission control modules
Okay.
that tell the vehicle like what you're doing, whether you're turning or like say if like the lane departure and stuff, if
Yeah.
it feels that it's going somewhere it's not supposed to, it alert you and stuff.
Okay.
So all of that is called like live communication, live
That's
suspension.
dope. Yeah, a lot of sports cars have that. Where you're turning, it'll like lower the car and like lean it so you're able to make a sharper
Dang.
turn.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's like
sports
a
cars have
hive
that.
mind almost type thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's
that's crazy.
It's its own little world now. It's its own little person, I would say, because I mean, you've got artificial intelligence telling the vehicle like what's gonna happen. Like it'll brake
Yeah.
for you if you need to.
I
Or
think that stuff is awesome.
it's neat.
Isn't-
Personally,
Isn't it?
oh, go ahead, Greg.
Is ABS kind of like a very like rudimentary version of that? Like, because I know ABS has kind of, basically takes away your power if like you lose traction. Is that kind of where it started, or?
Yeah, well, it kind of started with the OBD readers of where you could get.
Yeah. What's OBD? What's an OBD?
Break it down. Break it down.
Oh my gosh! Now that I'm on the spot,
You
I don't
teach him
remember what
words, by the
OBD
way.
means.
You
but
didn't
You
know.
can totally make it up.
it's
We
a
will
little
not.
We will not know. Yeah, we won't correct you. I'll tell you that
Old
much.
break dust.
So aliens come and they tell you what exactly is going on with the vehicle, and it communicates in Morse code, like
Wow.
beep beep beep, and then you're like, oh, okay, this is what's wrong with it.
Oh shit!
There's little hamsters inside that are talking
Yes.
to each other.
Hamsters.
No, with the introduction of control modules within like the transmissions and the engines and stuff, the OBD port readers would kind of give you a more or less identification as to what's malfunctioning.
Okay.
And that was like the beginning of some of the electronic transmissions and motors or engines per se.
Personally, do you prefer the new type of cars that are coming out? you kind of seem like you like the
Carburetors.
older cars. Like that's
The smell of
that's the
burning.
style. That's the style I'm getting from you.
Yeah, same.
You're like Vin Diesel in Fast and Furious.
Yes.
He's got the
I
Charger.
I hope I never run out of gears, with like the way Vin Diesel does. You just
Yeah,
Crazy
they
amount of
turned
gears.
gear shifting into like a superpower.
They
Like,
did. I wish I had all of those gears in my truck. Great.
I need to go faster.
It's already peaking.
There's always another
There's
gear.
another one.
Right?
Hit the 13th.
Highway, semi-truck, okay?
Bring down the bass.
I was about to go for
Speaking of the bass, bye, Sarah.
Bye, Sarah Leon. Sarah Leon is
sister.
exiting the building.
Dun, 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 dun.
That's what you graduate.
Sarah. Okay.
All right, anyway.
So what were we doing? What were we talking about?
I don't know, but now I want to have like my own personal soundtrack too. Like
We
so I
go
know
hard.
what's
Yeah.
We go hard up
going
in here.
on. Like Sarah's leaving the building and she's got a soundtrack.
Don't worry. we
Yeah,
got
so
one.
so we'll do that for you. Like
Okay.
whenever you're ready to dip,
gotta
like,
walk out in
we'll
slow
just
motion.
leave it on and then
Okay.
we'll like make a soundtrack for you.
Wait, you were gonna get into
Perfect.
something. You were talking about.
Oh
older
yeah,
cars.
yeah. Just I'm a fan of older vehicles.
Any specific model?
Suburban. Get the
No.
motor. Let's get that motor.
Older trucks, I think.
La Cheyenne.
Yeah.
Oh
La
my
Cheyenne.
God,
La
Silverado,
Cheyenne.
70s,
La Cheyenne.
square body. Get down. Yeah, she has this Suburban. Okay, so when I was barely dating Sarah. Like, I was barely getting to go to Sarah's house and everything. So I'm walking, strolling, and then I see this
Your usual
Suburban.
little happy
Yeah,
walk.
I see this Suburban parked outside of
I feel like making
Eliza's
sound
mom's
effects
house.
to this.
Blazer, I'm sorry, Blazer. Because it's smaller, right?
Yeah.
It's smaller. Yeah, I'm thinking because David, my cuñado, has a Suburban. But those things are like
nice.
boats.
They are. They're huge.
So, being the pepo that I am, I'm like, well, let's see what's under the hood.
Open the hood.
Yeah, dude, that's the
So,
Lowrider, right?
I open the hood, and then you got this
That's like
454.
looking up somebody's skirt.
gonna
without
It
say,
is.
fishing.
right?
She's a dirty girl.
Did you check the oil as
She's a
well?
dirty
You
girl.
disgusting
Could be
animal.
offended
My
if you
poor
saw that
baby.
shit.
I kind of smacked it.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
kinda.
lie. I kind of smacked it a little bit. I'm like, you dirty girl. God. She's got this 454, and then she's got pink accents all over it. I think that was fucking awesome.
Can you break that down? Engines. So, what's a 454? What are blocks?
big-
What
oh,
is?
no, get
what
it.
are these
Get
terms
it.
that people are using?
Get it.
I want to
Get
know.
him, Liza.
So-
Get 'em.
know.
So for like the 454 or like 350s, those are the cubic inches of the engine itself.
Okay.
And then like if you hear a 5.7 or like 4.6, that's the liters of the engine.
Like a V8, V6.
So I have noticed that liters are going down and power's going up.
Eco
Yep.
Boost.
What are they doing?
Turbos.
just
Using turbos?
turbos, superchargers, or just like overhead twin cams. I mean, there's a lot of ways to get
What's a twin
a lot
cam?
more where it's got like a cam on the top side of your valve train.
Okay,
instead of on the
so
bottom side.
like when you cam a truck, let's say that you put that's it right off of the brochure, low lift cam.
Yes.
So what's the difference between that and a twin cam, or does it apply the same?
It applies the same. It's just in a different area of the engine itself.
Of the engine itself.
But to answer your question about liters going down and power going up, you'll be surprised with the amount of horsepower that you can get per liter on smaller engines
Okay.
without it having to go to like a big block and heavier
Big block.
big block. Like so you've got your standard size blocks and then
Size?
Wheels? No, I'm
I
kidding.
don't know. This is hard explaining this.
It's a big block.
Small block. That's why they say small block Chevy, big
Yeah.
block Chevy.
But what is that? What's a block? What do you
well, the block is the engine itself.
It's just a term.
yeah.
It's just a term.
They just call it a block.
Yeah, the
It's
block.
the block, and then the rest of
Big
it
old-
is called like the internals, which is like the pistons and push
Okay.
rods and all
How does
that
an
other stuff.
engine work?
Oh my
no,
gosh.
I'm kidding.
All right, I'm
How does a
out.
combustion?
I'm out.
I
So
have-
4.0. The Jeep has a 4.0.
No, I wish it would did.
What is it?
It's a 3.6.
3.6.
I don't know. It's the.
It's a
the-
small.
it's the
That's a
minivan.
smaller V6, right?
It's the minivan V6.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Okay, so then a big. Well, okay, what would be a big V6?
The 4.0.
The 4.0. That's
Yeah,
as big as it gets for the V6. Okay, and then after that, it goes into the 5 points, or no?
Yeah, it just it depends
skips.
on what vehicle you're working on or what engine block it is. Because I mean, what you can do also is you can get a small engine and bore and stroke it to where it has the same kind of output that a 454 would.
Born stroke
Okay.
it,
Yeah, so
make the
And what that
holes
is
bigger.
like you make the holes bigger and then the stroke longer.
You know how the
so that-
pistons work, right?
Correct.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bore and stroke it.
So yeah,
Stroke?
so you
What do you-
So sexual.
What do you mean by the stroke, though?
Because it goes.
Okay, so the stroke, like once the crankshaft is spinning, right, and on the crankshaft you have like the piston rods, and then the distance between like where the piston goes to the top end of where the heads are, that is called the stroke.
Oh, so you make that longer?
Longer or
and then you
shorter.
make the bore. That's the thicker? Hold on, real quick. Back to the liters.
Yes.
So you said the liters are the amount of gas that, what did you say about that one again?
No, it's just like it's a term for
volume, right?
measurement on. You know what? I
it the
don't
volume?
don't know completely.
Yeah, I wonder what it is measuring. Like liters? Where are
Like
these liters going?
Cubic liters? Nah.
Of oil? No.
No, I mean it does make sense to say
it's
like
just the
liters
volume.
because how much gas it takes to fill up a truck
Right.
That's
versus
interesting, huh?
a vehicle.
Yeah.
So
Like maybe it's like
I don't
the
know what
amount
the
of
liter actually represents, but I do know it's like a term of measurement for the engine itself.
Because now I'm curious. I'm like, is that the amount of liters that are used up in a specific period of time by the?
I think it's just the volume in general, like how
I-
much you can
yeah.
hold at once, right?
I think so.
they were building.
That's why we had the laptop so we could.
Yeah.
Google.
Google it. Last time,
Google it.
Jamie.
I was really excited to see the Ford Ranger build because I used to have a 4.0.
Oh, really?
Oh, your little
side.
yellow one.
Step side 4.0, and it was beautiful.
The little yellow one, huh?
I'm not gonna lie. I tried running that truck to the ground, like finishing it before I sold it, because I was already determined to sell it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm gonna break it. I'm gonna break it before I sell it.
Aw.
I tried
break it?
so hard, I couldn't. I took it to Red Sands. I took it everywhere. Like I would go out up the medians. Like I would go over medians. Like I would try and break that truck, and I couldn't.
Dude, why were
I
you trying to
couldn't.
break it?
Just de puro morbosidad, like de
Just to
culero,
see-
like
to see
nomás
how
a ver
far
qué
you can
pasaba.
take it.
Yeah.
Cause I broke a Subaru. I used to have a Subaru.
Oh, the
a WRX,
I
the
remember
all-wheel
that bad
drive. And that
Broke
thing,
it? What did you do?
the clutch. I burned the clutch and it stayed in gear, and I couldn't move it from there. So I called the bank, and I'm like, come pick your car up. And then they went and picked it up. They're like, sir, but you
I
can
knew
still fix it. But nah, I ain't fixing it.
Okay.
You pick it up.
I was actually kind of thinking this is what it was because in HVAC we deal with compressors and they
Yeah.
also have pistons. So engines are measured by displacement, usually
There you go.
expressed in liters or cubic centimeters. Displacement is the total volume of all cylinders in an engine. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it
Because it
does.
displaces. You get me? Like it's at the top of the stroke, it's like sucking in.
And then it displays.
That's how much
Yeah.
gasoline is sucking in. And then
Well, yeah, but it's measured. So then, boom, when it goes down, that's how much it displaces. Like,
oh, so it displaces 5.0 liters
Yes.
of gas. Oh shit!
in one stroke.
I mean, I think
Well,
that's
this,
total.
this,
though.
this
I
is
think
going
that's
to be total, like,
total,
for each
'cause
all the
piston.
pistons,
for all
Yeah.
the pistons.
That seems like a lot.
Like for our, how many pistons? That's that V12, right? Like
Yeah,
12,
so
12
then that
pistons.
means you have 12
V8,
pistons.
eight pistons. V6, 6 pistons, 4-cylinder. Is it 4 pistons?
How many
Or
liters
am
are
I
in a gallon,
talking
Greg?
just
No,
bullshit?
you're correct.
How many liters are in a gallon? Well, 1 liter equals about 61 cubic inches.
It's 3.7 liters per gallon.
It's not necessarily
let's
just talking about like the gas itself. It's
Right.
talking about like the full mixture
Oh,
of
the
gas,
mixture and everything.
air,
Ah, that makes
and
a
the
lot more
combustion
sense.
itself.
That makes
You have-
much more
If
sense.
you have 4 ounces, 4 liters, and that's about 1 point. It's not even a gallon.
Yeah, but it's not just gas. She broke it down.
It's
Why
ev-
not?
it's
But you were
everything.
saying that it seems like a lot. Like my car is only like 1.5. So look at that. That's a little bit.
What does that car come with?
It's
a
a
dental
V4.
dam?
Where'd you get that from? I've heard that before.
From the other guys?
Yeah, but you know what? I have a pink. Well, I need to find it. I bought it. It's already mine.
You have a pink slip? I don't
mean,
care.
It's mine. Like it's
I don't
mine.
care.
It's paid off at least.
The show
to
Pink
make you
Slips.
fun-
Did you guys watch that show?
Yes.
No, I
No?
Is that
I
like a
missed that
racing
shit.
show?
What do
Yes.
they race?
Good show.
They race
You
for.
race for
I wanted to
pink
talk to you
titles.
about actually
Yeah.
that because I'm a little bit of a magician.
Oh.
And now,
shit.
But I feel like now that I know, like I kind of ruined magic for me. Like I can't watch a magic show or I can't watch
Yeah.
a movie about magic without me being like,
I know how to do
like,
that.
oh, like that's not real or whatever.
Yeah.
So like, do you feel that way for like when you see a car movie, a chase scene, or like people like doing, especially Fast and Furious. Fast and Furious is like completely ridiculous. That's not how cars
care.
work.
I love it.
So do you watch it and you kind of like, oh, I can't even watch this like seriously. Or no?
Yes. So
Dude, but to be honest,
and no.
I don't even
Yes
think
and
you
no.
need to be a mechanic to find those movies.
No, but I want to
Like,
know from
dude,
her that
The
she
Rock
actually knows about cars.
grabbed a chain and controlled a helicopter
No,
with
but
one arm.
that's-
And
that's not a
car.
car.
Bro,
with the
we're
other.
talking about The Rock.
But that's not a
dude.
car.
probably
Come
right.
on.
it's The Rock. He's superhuman.
Yeah,
Like
fuck
I don't know if
yeah.
you've seen the. I
He'll
think
never
it was
die.
the last Fast and Furious where he had like a poor man's turbo and he had like a pop thing right on the fuel, in the fuel line, and he just like cut it.
You know which movie changed it for me? Gone in 60 Seconds. With
The
the
Oh,
original or
no, the one
Nicolas
with
Cage one?
Nicolas Cage. Oh my goodness gracious! It made Shelby GT what it is.
It made
Because everybody
Eleanor.
glorified like, oh, it's
Eleanor?
a GT 500.
I got to see the original Eleanor at SEMA.
Did you?
Last year, yeah. And
Tell 'em what
she's
SEMA is.
gorgeous in
Yeah, what's
person.
Did you get to open the hood and everything?
No, I didn't. They had like full on rope and everything around
touch
it. Yeah. Don't even breathe on it.
What would you say is like one of the like most annoying things as far as like those kinds of movies go that annoy you? Is there like a trope or anything specific?
I don't know if it's I've seen it a couple of times in movies when they're using like adjustable crescent wrenches.
Really?
Yes, that drives me insane. Or they're
ones
just
that
like
open
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
running
close.
around with like, a flathead screwdriver and just like poking at it.
Or hitting it with
I
a
think
hammer.
this is like kind of more so with like the pinup modeling stuff. Like
Okay.
every time they give the poor girls a tool, it's a crescent wrench or like something that's
Something that's maybe identifiable. Like, we know what that is.
Because everything's
well,
pretty
no,
sized,
no,
right?
it's
You shouldn't use those.
yeah,
like
like,
a
why,
wrench,
you
you
wouldn't be using that if you were working on something.
You
What's
shouldn't.
what's the tool you
Yeah.
most commonly use? Maybe they should know. Maybe they don't know. Let them know what they should switch it out for.
No, it's because what it
Ratchet?
is that for like modeling and stuff, they want to have big props that you can see.
Yeah.
You know why?
So they have like a
Yeah.
pipe wrench.
Yeah, so that
It's all about, like-
yeah, it's the visual part of it, but it drives me insane that poor girls are like with like, monkey wrench or like crescent wrench. They're like
Las
kinda-
pinzas perras.
Because it's
Yeah,
not
I'm
as
like,
sexy if you're holding an
no.
ohm meter.
No, it really isn't. Yeah, and then like
Greg?
Checking the electrical
Some
current.
jumper cables, maybe.
Jesus
A little bit
Christ.
more realistic.
Toda
You see, I
cochina
would-
con
I would-
aceite, todo.
Changing
He
some
said
brake
that
pads
kind
or
of like he
something.
was liking it, like
Yeah, he did.
cochina, like-
right.
I don't know what I like,
Irvin.
man. Stuff. My brain works
It's
in weird
definitely
ways.
not as glamorous as
Yeah.
people
They make
make
it out to
se-
be.
Yeah, no.
Like there's this car show on Netflix that a woman is like fixing cars and everything, but she's always done up and like looking clean and everything. Like I highly doubt it is like that. Like
Está
You'll be
pestosa.
surprised though. I mean, it just.
Okay.
I'm a magnet for dirt. Like I can be sitting here and somehow like I'll
get dirty.
Yeah, but there's some techs that I know that they're pristine looking like they never even worked on
True.
anything. Yeah.
Your hands are
That's
clean.
I would get jealous of my uncle. He has such a finesse
Yeah.
to his craft
Ay,
that
güey.
he wouldn't get dirty at
Paint?
all.
Who
And then
you
by the
talking
time I'd get
Benny?
finished, I'd be like,
Who
are you talking about?
Con mierda, mi tío Benny.
Bad
Yo,
word.
my uncle, because I did painting for a while.
Yeah.
And I was doing that, and my uncle was always pristine.
Fresh.
Like at
Yeah,
the end
the
of the day, he worked up just as much as me, but he didn't have as much as paint as me. Like I was like fucking spots
The roller,
everywhere.
the roller gets you, huh?
But not even with the roller. Even when he was working outside with the roller like packed with paint, he still wouldn't get
He was
dirty.
meticulous with his
He
craft.
He was
Yeah.
that's another thing I was talking about last time, just how good people get with their craft and how
Yeah.
having that sense of pride
Oh,
for
yeah.
what you do.
Have you ever had? I'm sorry. Have you ever had an opportunity to call somebody out, like a mechanic? I know I'm pretty sure you work on your own stuff, but like, have you ever had this opportunity where somebody's trying to like BS you, and you're like, dude, like I know what you're doing, or I know what it's
That is not true.
What
Yeah.
it's not, like you're just lying to me. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever had that opportunity?
Yeah, I've had people try and upsell stuff like
Uh-huh.
I know it sounds terrible, but I hate doing oil changes.
Okay,
I mean, it's
that's
just
fair.
what you pay for it at, the place where you can get it done within 30, 40 minutes and they have like, the proper facility to get rid of the oil and
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
else. I don't want to do my own oil changes. And so like
You don't like
I'll
doing
have-
your own.
No, I don't.
Why?
She's beyond that.
Yeah.
That's not because it's just not fun.
You don't think it's fun?
No.
It's like taking out the trash.
Well, for
yeah,
for like but that sucks because for like the common guy, like you go to AutoZone and you get your AutoZone rewards and you feel like a tough guy because you take off little
if
screws.
I didn't have to, like, if it wasn't a struggle to get rid of the oil,
True.
True, yeah.
then I would totally do it.
You know how many trees have died?
Huh?
Because we pour the oil on
Oh,
the
what are
tree.
you talking about?
That's how motherfucker.
That's how Mexican we are.
Oh my god.
Or we would leave them like
Or
in
the
buckets.
post-its, like, so that way it waterproofs.
The
We would
tree's
leave
all
them in
black.
buckets, and then I remember I had some white
lubricate.
Converse, and I stepped inside the
No.
bucket. I was like, "Fuck this shit." My dad's like that. He just leaves like.
Yeah, my dad doesn't want me to throw it away because he uses it to lubricate. And I'm like, how much are you lubricating? I have like fucking
Lubricate
10
what?
gallons of like
I
5
don't know what
gallons
he's
each.
lubricating.
Yeah, I used to end up with like the big old gallons of oil and stuff, and I was just like, I can't be doing this. So
What is your favorite thing to do? If you hate oil changes, what do you like to do?
You should have
suspension
suspensions.
work?
So, what does that mean? Like lifting trucks? Is that
Yes,
what you're talking
like
about?
lifting
Ah.
trucks or getting different suspensions under the vehicles that.
I actually do have a little bit of mechanic experience.
A ver, de
One
que te
time,
caes.
I heated my springs.
Oh my god.
To
that
drop
thing
my
was
car.
sucked.
Oh no!
Horrible, horrible.
How was the ride?
Sucky. It was the worst
looked
ride
cool.
ever. It looked fucking cool though. I was low. I would get lower every year. And then
Because the spring would just
and my tires would just open up. Why does that happen? Why do
camber.
the tires open
No,
up?
people do that purposely, like the camber.
What is that? That's called camber?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
do that purposely so they
it's
can
whack.
drop their car even more.
Remember we lived in Nevadas and every time you try to go up that hill, you'd have to like go like this. We were like waiting for you
Yeah.
for the green light 'cause it's about to run out and you're like, oh, hold on,
I
I'm
remember
going.
that little car. It was a little
going.
99 Civic.
99 Civic.
Aw.
Good old little car. Betsy.
El sacapuntas.
Did you have like a cherry bomb on
What?
there? Did you have a cherry bomb
didn't.
exhaust on there?
What is
He
it?
doesn't know what that
Oh, the ones that go.
Yeah.
Of course. It's because check it out. This is what happened.
Oh, okay, go for
So
it.
this was my first car.
Uh-huh.
I got it for like 3 G's. I was like, fuck yeah, I got a good car. And it was standard. I always wanted to drive standard. So then when I showed up with that car at school, some of the kids, they were like, oh, you got a Civic? So I was inducted into the little car crew.
Car team.
And then they were
I'm
like,
cool,
let me work on
guys.
your car. I was like, yeah, I have friends. Fuck yeah. I had friends before that, just kidding.
Okay.
And then,
All right.
and then they were like, hey, we know about cars. You want us to like work on it? So yeah, I would just go hang out with them. And then they would just like install everything. Like they
Oh,
kind of
that's
just
cool.
use my car as like another project. So they installed like
Nice.
little side skirts. They installed like the exhaust.
Did you start because of that car crew? Did you start wanting to learn how to do stuff or helping out with that, or you
Nah,
just
he never
not
did.
interested?
I'm naturally a curious guy.
Yeah.
So even me asking you questions, like I know a little bit about what you're talking about because I have done some research. But I always like being open and knowledgeable. Like I don't care if I look like the dumb guy because I feel like that mentality is a growth mentality because we never know everything about everything. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So I love approaching everything with like a childlike mind of like, oh, what is
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Because you learn so much, you know. So even with these guys, like it was fun learning about exhaust and intakes and all that. fun
I
stuff.
love that mindset, and I think maybe that's probably something that's missing within the trades itself is the ability to say I don't know it all.
Why do you think that is though?
Well, it's just because you've got Instagram, you've got Facebook, where people are updating things live, and so it just allows for like a platform for people to kind of criticize your work immediately, or to kind of
Right.
bash somebody if they're not doing it the way that one person would do it or not.
Okay.
And so I think people have started to shy away from sharing their work or their experiences until that they feel that it's like perfected.
Okay.
What's that instant gratification mentality now that we have, right? Everything's so accessible.
Accessible.
So like
information.
you kind of your standards go up, and they're all at times they're just a little bit
Like,
unrealistic.
why should I hear it from you when I can Google it? Like, what makes you the know it all?
Well,
It's like,
I get that all the time. Like, again, I'll go to magic. That's like the only thing I can feel like I know more about that than you guys. Like magic, I get that all the time. Like as soon as like I do like a simple card trick that I took, I learned how to do it, and then immediately like, well, yeah, but can you do it with that thing that David Blaine? And I'm just like, I'm not fucking David Blaine.
Blaine.
Yeah.
And I'm not on TV, so no,
Yeah,
obviously.
you
I
are.
can't.
You're on YouTube.
yeah, that's awesome.
But
now
you know
now you get to have that platform, man.
But-
Yeah, I think that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, you're
There you
definitely
go.
right. It's just it's hard. It's hard to admit now that I don't know.
Yeah.
Because then people are like, "Well, what are you doing here?" You're like,
So you
I
have
know
that extra
everything.
pressure.
I'm learning. I'm trying to learn."
Yeah.
Do you?
That's
know?
awesome.
That's kind of like that's not a good environment in my opinion though. Because it's like
If somebody like puts you down for asking questions.
yeah,
it's
like so how are you supposed to
okay.
keep learning? How are you supposed
Yeah.
to keep growing
just gotta
if
know.
you're scared? Like
Yeah.
oh man, I can't like ask this question because
you're gonna think I'm dumb or something.
yeah, exactly.
I think that's I went away from that as I started getting older and like being more in the workforce. Because in high school, I didn't like to ask questions. I wanted to just keep my mouth shut and move on. But now it's like, well, why?
Yeah.
How come? Like, what is this for? And then,
I've always been my poor mom.
Yeah.
If you ask her my favorite word, she was always like, "Why? Why this and why that?" But it's just I want to know.
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of how you got where you got, right?
Yeah, because I had a lot of techs that were willing to answer all the whys to my questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I'd shadow people and I mean that's how I picked up welding and doing like body work and stuff.
Welding is such a beautiful trait.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful trait. I did is it MIG, the one with the wire? Which one's that one? The one that feeds the wire.
Okay, yeah, that's me.
That's MIG welding, right? That's the one that I did in ag when I was in high school. I like that one more than the arc welding.
Oh, okay.
With the stick.
Yeah.
I don't like the stick.
What's the difference?
Because one of them feeds it. It feeds it to the metal. So, I mean, you're able to... You have
like
to control
soldering?
like your pace.
Kind of.
Sort of.
So when he's talking about like arc welding, he's talking about like the stick itself that has like the filler, and then around it
The gray
is
stick.
the flux.
Okay.
And so what that does is that kind of creates a little environment so that the metals adhere to one another.
So I always thought when you're welding, you're just melting the metal to where they fuse. But you're saying you're actually
Binding it.
something, there's an actual ingredient that's like a glue?
No, it's not a glue. It's just it's an environment that it makes. Like, because if you were to not have flux on it, you'd get a lot of porosity in the weld itself,
Okay.
and then it would make the metal
Just
brittle.
brittle, okay.
Yeah, and so in order to like keep it, I guess as true to like the metal process itself,
Yeah.
when you're welding, is you have to have like that flux shield, and so it's either like on the wire itself, like you've got flux core wire feed, where
Yeah.
you don't need to have like a bottle of argon, or you've
Okay.
got the regular wire feed where you have the bottle of argon that kind of comes through like the gun, so it creates like the little environment, or TIG welding is also fed through like the gun itself, so that way you create that shield.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's super cool. I mean, they do it a lot in work on live pipeline. So I think that's super cool how they don't burn through it. Because there's a certain amount of voltage that you have to put on there, and then you have to ground it, and then
sounds
so yeah,
dangerous.
it's metal to metal, and then you put like a metal rod, and then it like burns on there.
Because you've seen like
Melts on
soldering.
there.
I think you're thinking
Yeah,
more
that's what I was thinking.
Because
It's
that's
sort
what
of
we
like
do.
Sounds similar.
We do
Yeah.
like for copper pipe, we use like oxyacetylene.
Yeah.
Which is
That's the
acetylene
metal?
and oxygen. No. Oxygen
Oxyacetylene.
and acetylene.
I think that's
acetylene.
What the fuck is
Yeah.
acetylene?
And you gotta like mix it just right. And that makes a flame, and then now you have like, I think it's mostly gold.
Oh.
That little bar, the stick that you put,
And they melted on that
melted
thing.
on the
Yeah.
copper.
I think that's a beautiful trait. A lot of my friends weld. A lot of them do, and I used to follow them on Instagram, and they used to show like their welds and everything. So when I would see your welds when you were going to school or
a good weld.
while you were
Yeah.
working, I was like, hey, that's beautiful.
Hey,
I love the
That's a
colors.
good weld.
I love the colors, like the how it turns like rainbow and all that.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're gorgeous. I love welding too. But there's so many disciplines within
Yeah.
welding itself, and so many types of welding that it's kind of hard to have them all there. I mean, it's definitely something that you have to keep up with, or else
Yeah.
you lose it. You lose your finesse.
Didn't you just buy a machine, or you have a machine?
Yes, I just got my machine, so I'm excited.
Oh,
You have any, do you have any projects you're currently working on?
Too many. Too many. But yes, I am working on a 59 Willys pickup that I'm going to be taking out to Moab, Easter Jeep Safari. So I've got 3 months to get this vehicle together.
And you race too?
No.
Oh,
no.
okay,
I
okay.
used to sand drags and hill climbs here in El Paso with both my Jeep and a Blazer, but I haven't done that in years.
So do you have like a little team or something?
No.
That'll be awesome.
No,
Cool.
I did
I'm not
used
gonna
to
lie.
hang.
I would want to put a sticker on my truck. Just feel like I belong. Yeah,
I did.
I didn't do shit, but I'm
You're
fucking
gonna
wearing this.
associate yourself?
Yeah, no, the patches are awesome.
What kind of
especially-
patches are we talking here? The
Oh,
Moab thing?
well, no, we're just talking about like, once you
Just
get
wearing green colors, like
Yeah,
I'm
when-
part of this car team. Or something.
yeah, a race club or something. I definitely wanted that.
And
I used to
fast.
hang out at a shop, and it was a tow truck company and a mechanical shop, and we used to just like, do once after work was done, we'd all bring our projects in and work on it.
Yeah.
So so that was kind of like my crew for a while. It was fun.
So you're working on that little truck, and what are you trying to do to it, or what? Like you're just lifting it, making it pop.
I'm gonna be setting it up to where I can crawl over like really large obstacles. So in Moab, like you've got a mountainous terrain, and you go up these obstacles that look almost impossible to go up.
Is this a natural course that they have, or someone's?
Yeah, it's a natural course.
What
that
kind
they
of
have.
like just a bunch of rocks? Just
A bunch of rocks and mountains, like dips and caverns and stuff that you can like straddle and.
That sounds
so like
fun.
what I want the suspension to do is kind of like crawl up and over things.
Okay.
Nice.
And what do you have to do to achieve something like that?
You have to do like a 4-link setup.
Okay.
Kind of
like
like
each thing's independent in a way.
No.
Okay.
No. So independent suspension would be like the front end is acting independently from the other end. On a solid axle, like if you have this part of the axle that goes down, naturally the other side's going to go up.
Okay.
And
So that's what you want.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I want.
Cool.
That sounds badass. Can you keep telling us?
Has Oscar
No, I
told
can't
you?
give away all of the secrets.
Oh, these are
No.
secrets?
Has,
Oh,
Oscar,
no, they're
has
not.
Oscar told you about our uncle El Taz?
No.
Yeah, he does a lot of those like mud races.
But I think he's more into
fine.
engines.
Huh?
He messes a lot with the engine, no?
I mean, I'm sure he's had to like upgrade that thing like numerous times because everything wears down. I mean,
I think it's badass.
suspension, everything.
So you had
That's
to
the
also.
only sad part about like doing any kind of automotive
Yeah.
aftermarket stuff is you have to keep up with the maintenance
Yeah.
and the parts
It's
itself.
expensive,
It's
right?
expensive.
It's expensive.
It breaks down pretty quickly, or what?
Not really, but I mean, with the amount of abuse that you're putting the vehicles through,
Yeah.
like for off-roading or racing, yeah,
Right.
you have to keep
Yeah.
up with the maintenance.
You were saying because you were a host for what was that show again?
Power Nation.
Extreme off-road.
Well, yeah.
So what was that like? What did that entail, or what kind of things were you doing over there?
Everything off-road, and we built 1, 2, 3, like four projects.
4 projects.
Yeah, 4 builds.
And what would they like? You were a host of the show, and you would
Excuse me.
like you were talking about the races, or what?
No,
what
we
you-
were talking about like the build itself and what was going to make that truck perform better for what we wanted it to.
Okay.
Whether it was like for like desert racing,
Yeah.
speed kind of stuff, or if it was for like rock crawling, what was
Okay.
going to make the Jeep like rock crawl better.
You didn't
Yeah.
watch the video that
No, I haven't
Oscar
seen
is linked to? Wow.
I linked-
And we did
oh,
like
that
a
was
lot
that?
of we did
Yeah,
like
that
a lot
was
of
him.
how-to
That was her.
stuff too. So like for entry level beginner people, kind of to get them excited about the trades itself, whether
Yeah.
it be building, putting together top end of an engine so that it makes it more reliable, like a turnkey kind of deal. We did instead of it being carbureted, we changed it over to fuel injection.
Okay.
And entry level fabrication skills and stuff.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun show. It was fun to work at.
I'm like, I'm gonna do all this to my truck, and then I go online and I start seeing prices. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't need this. Never mind.
That's what she was saying. Está caro.
Yeah, it's expensive to,
Like for
to have
example,
that hobby.
the headers thing or whatever you were talking about. Like, what does that run at?
Good headers run you like $400-$500.
Just for the headers.
Good headers. Yeah. I bought mine kind of cheap. They were like $200. But yeah, like Liza, I was telling Liza, well, what can I do to make it sound louder? And the usual Mexican thing is get rid of the cats, straight pipe it. But it messes your sensors and you don't pass the inspection. So she was telling me that use a catback system, like it's already prefabricated so that it sounds better and there's more airflow.
Nice.
And I was looking into it, like $1,500 like for the whole system. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my god, no, never mind.
So you can
Yeah.
spend a lot of money on these.
Yeah.
Well, since I've got the welder now you can kind of do MagnaFlows. They've got like their own like system to where you can modify it and you won't have to like do something that's like specifically made for your vehicle.
Well, you know what? What would be better? Like to throw them all the way to the back or put them in the middle?
I would say if you drive your vehicle a lot, to go all the way to the back. Because if you're going down through the middle, you're going to get a lot of that exhaust coming into the cab.
Into the cab?
Oh, that would suck.
Yeah, because I see a lot of cars do that. Like my friend drives a GTO.
That's kind of more for racing applications, and
Okay.
even at that, like I wouldn't
You wouldn't
recommend
do
it
it.
just because of all the carbon monoxide.
Feel nice
When
and
estoy en
happy there.
locotote.
I would imagine when you're idling, like you're just chilling. It's just
Like,
Whoa.
the longer I drive, the better I feel.
Right?
That's crazy.
I'm so sleepy.
Nap right here on the interstate.
But I would, that's something I do want to do because right now I have a cherry bomb on it. But I would want to put a cherry bomb is like.
Exactly what I was thinking.
What would you say?
I said cherry bomb.
I've never heard it.
You never heard that
Never
song?
heard
No.
that song?
But
Break it
who-
down, Greg,
who
break
Who
it
sings
down.
it?
I don't know. But you probably know. I don't know. I just heard it. Anyway, what's a turn down, by the way? What's the purpose of that for? What is the purpose of that? A turn
What?
down? Like
What's
just
turn down?
is like the turn down for what now?
Oh, that's
isn't
Little
it-
John. I can tell
The
you.
turn down isn't it just like a pipe that like goes down for your exhaust or something. Like
Downpiping?
Up.
I don't know what you're talking about, dude.
that? You never heard of a turn down? Oh, I don't know.
I heard of a
I was watching
turnpike.
a car show. I was trying to like research a little bit, and they put a turn down on it. They basically cut the like exhaust from a minivan, and it just put it looked like just like a piece of pipe.
Oh,
That-
okay.
Una pipa.
It's
From
just
the
like a little
headers?
elbow
Yeah, it's probably just like where they want the exhaust to come out
to
through.
make it sound better.
So they're just
Yeah.
fabricating pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like remember when we used to have trampoline, that silver pipe that holds up the.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like, and it was just like an elbow. That's it.
No, when I was going with the cherry bombs.
Hit it.
Like each of them have their own standalone cherry bomb. That's usually how it works, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's a cherry bomb?
It's gonna sound better. It's the I don't know what it's called. Like at the end of your muffler.
Yeah, it's the muffler itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what makes
just
that's
makes
what
it
makes
loud.
it sound.
Like a bola, basically.
No.
No, it's got different systems have different metals on the inside to get like a specific sound or to suppress
okay.
a sound.
Gotcha.
And so just depending on what your preference is,
Yeah.
then you either get like, a large style muffler or tailpipe or, just different components of the tailpipe itself.
I
the
wonder
muffler
how many
itself.
people are turned off by electric vehicles just because they don't have a sound.
Well, that
know
was
what
the
I
whole
mean?
premise of that movie, The Dilemma.
I don't even know.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was the whole.
I love that movie.
That movie's kind of
I've never
weird,
seen it.
but like they forget like the whole thing that Kevin James in that movie was trying to do. He was trying to invent an electric car
Yeah.
that sounded like a muscle car.
Whoa.
That was the whole thing that they were trying to do.
How would you
This
do
is this is the cars taking off.
that? Un pedito nomás.
This is them going fast.
Damn. Dude, they haul ass though. That's actually my dream.
Tesla's haul ass.
Tesla-
Have
Not
you
gonna lie.
seen that young kid that is going out and like racing Corvettes?
Oh, with the stripped down Tesla.
Yes.
He's
What does he
beating
do?
all
I
these
love
cars.
and hate him.
Because he took out everything in the Tesla.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
So
model?
that's super the
3?
the racing one.
Oh, the Roadster?
The Roadster. He
Those are
stripped it
fucking
down.
fast.
He stripped it down so it's just like the car itself.
Right, right.
There's
Yeah.
no extra weight. And he's racing all these cars. Like a sleeper
I
car.
think that one in
Sounds like
itself
a whisper.
would do 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds.
Then imagine without any weight on
Wow,
it.
Yeah.
They're
dude.
torquey, right? They have a lot of
Yeah, they
acceleration.
do. Yeah.
Do you know about like electric cars a little more? Like what makes
Not
that's
enough
something.
to speak intelligently about it.
I like watching stuff about sleeper cars. I don't know if you like this. Stuff.
Sleeper cars. I
Yeah,
love
I
those
do.
on
I have
YouTube.
a buddy of mine who has an Omni.
I don't know what
Oh,
the fuck
cool.
that is.
Yeah, and he I can show you a picture of it right now, but it doesn't even look like a sleeper anymore. I think he added too much like flair to it. But like it looks like one of those very unassuming cars. But like yeah, he has like videos of it like it just
hauls
takes
ass.
off.
My favorite sleeper is Farm Truck.
Oh yeah, from that show was it Street Outlaws or
Yes.
something like that?
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen
No.
it? It's an old beat up truck that looks
Yeah.
like a farm truck. And then
Kills
they
everything.
set
Haul
up
ass.
at the track and I mean they pull these crazy numbers. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I like that. I enjoy that a lot. I watch that a
Camper
lot on
and everything
YouTube.
on the back, and I've seen it in person. It's impressive. It's impressive.
That's awesome.
Sleeper cars
Yeah.
are cool.
You didn't go into SEMA.
Oh,
Tell
yeah,
them what
sorry about
tell 'em what that is.
How do you spell it first of all?
SEMA. And I should know what that acronym stands for. It's Specialty Equipment Manufacturing something or other.
Associates.
Associates.
Probably.
America.
Super empowerment.
America.
Super empowerment.
Yes.
Mechanical America.
And what it is, it's a trade show. Everybody brings like their newest items to the trade show, and all the automotive enthusiasts and people that are part of the auto industry get the first chance to see like the unveilings of like the new products
Yeah.
and also how they're used on the vehicles, and it is just like
You went to that recently?
yeah.
And what did you see that's coming up?
A lot of the electrical car
Yeah?
setup stuff. Yeah. It just depends on what, I mean, SEMA is all inclusive over the aftermarket of everything. So
Right.
whether it's like cars, collision, racing, there's so much to take in. You can't even really talk about it within 5 minutes without.
How big is this event? Like, what are we talking? How many
It's-
people?
Pretty big.
Oh man, I don't know how many people, but it's
How many days was it?
it's 5 days.
Wow.
So it's
5
almost
day
a whole
show,
week.
Yeah.
They have music and everything,
Comic-Con
like
for cars.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, it's almost exactly like that.
live
Comic-Con.
bands.
Yeah. They have they have
Animals.
entertainment. They've got
Crash test
the
dummies.
vehicles that are running short course or like trophy
wow.
trucks.
Yeah.
So they're doing like stunts and stuff on the asphalt. It's impressive. You got to check out like if you Google anything SEMA, you'll see like just the mass itself of the
awesome.
different vehicles and
That's
product
awesome.
that's out there.
It's really cool meeting people that are into stuff that I'm not really into, and just like listening.
from
Different
Yeah.
world. Yeah.
Yeah, like listening about your world. You know.
Yeah, definitely. Like I was talking to my uncle. This is okay. I would always look up to my uncle to tell me stuff about cars. So then last time, yeah, mi tío Güero.
Oh, okay.
So last time, this is how I knew how little he actually did know.
Why, what did
Because
he say?
I was telling him, oh, you know what? I'm gonna put a manifold, and he's all like, and then he started talking about the headers and other stuff, and I'm like, no, that's not what a manifold is. But I'm not gonna argue with him. Yeah, but I'm like, oh shit, like I looked up to this guy so much because he was always talking about Corvettes and he
Yeah.
has a Bronco and like all this stuff. And then I was like, yeah, a manifold, and he really didn't know exactly what it was. Yeah,
He probably still knows other stuff.
he knows other
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
You can see him throwing down in mechanics, but he gets high and then he forgets where he puts shit. Like he forgets where he leaves stuff, and then like he's all like, "But I already torqued this down," and like it's just funny watching
Yeah,
him.
that's why I quit drinking while I was renting.
Oh my god!
You would forget where
What you
where it
tightened down
was. or-
What did I just do?
I believe in the.
Wait,
fun.
where's my beer?
But I'm pretty sure it was fun
Where
though.
the fuck am I right now?
It was fun.
I heard
Yeah,
a saying that
hell
if you
yeah.
end up with extra screws at the end, it means you did it right. Is that true? Do you subscribe
No,
to that?
mames.
No shit.
No.
Poniendo llantas and you end
Literally,
up
every
with
time
lugs.
like there's extra stuff, I'm like, oh
A
shit.
good mechanic always has extra screws at the end.
No,
You're into alcoholic beverages?
I was
What was your drink of preference?
Bud Light.
Bud Light. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You were on the
So you
culture.
don't drink anymore, Liza, or not as much as you
Not
used
as
to?
much. Not as much. It's just there's so much to lose now. Like especially if you're within the automotive
You get a
industry.
DWI and
yeah,
stuff?
if I get a DWI, I'm shit out of luck. I gotta start
Yeah.
over again and in a new career, and I don't want that.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, don't drive when you drink.
And then that's
responsible.
But it's
sounds
fun, though, I'm not
terrible.
gonna lie.
Yeah, it sounds terrible that I do it for my selfish reasons. But I work with so many vehicles, and it's just kind of so easy just to get in the vehicle and take off to wherever you're going that I don't want to chance it anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I should be saying it's because I want to keep drunk drivers off the road and not mess
It
up
is,
people's
yes,
lives, but. On top of that, it's more my selfish reasoning that I don't want to do anything to spoil what I've worked so hard for.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to hear a little bit more about your journey to getting to where you are right now, because there's a lot of ups and downs, I would imagine.
Yes, a lot of ups and downs and detours and stuff. When I went to Autotech, right after high school, when I graduated, I was looking for a job, and I went to Firestone. Firestone said, yeah, come back tomorrow, we'll interview you. And then when I came back, they were like, no, there's no job opening for you. So I was pretty bummed out. And right next door was Trevino Transmissions.
Oh, I know what
So,
you're talking about. Next to the little Chinese food place?
Yes.
That place burned down. Did you know that?
Did.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking
Wait,
love
the
that
Chinese-
place,
the
dude.
Chinese place?
Yes, I've been going there since I was born. The Chinese
Still
lady saw
born?
me birth.
Oh, wow.
Nah,
Oh,
she did.
Yeah, I
I'm just
remember
kidding.
that place too.
Your mom
But
gave
I
birth
love
on
that
that.
That's why you're a sesame chicken connoisseur.
Yes, yeah. It's because ever since that place burned down, I have never been able to
Chocolate
find my
pudding and
spot.
rice? Is that the place?
No, that's not the place.
Oh.
Oh, actually, it is. But I've never found myself. I'm sorry. I got passionate.
No,
about
no,
that.
yeah.
I
have
thought
the
you meant
same
the
apartment.
transmission place burned down.
Yeah, they did
They
too.
did.
that place burned
Yeah.
down.
Firestone,
All
all of it.
Yeah,
All
the
of
one
it
at
burned down.
Smokies, Firestone, that Chinese place, and a couple
Yeah.
other buildings.
They made it.
man,
They made it
sucks.
brand new, and they put a faux place.
They did.
So, as far as motivation, what kept you going after being turned down and meeting these barriers and
Stubbornness.
is that what it was? Just
Hungry, right? You gotta be hungry.
Yeah, I figured So my grandfather told me, if you're going to do something for 8 to 10 hours a day, it better be something that you're willing and wanting to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just could not see myself in retail. You know, I would go into the mall and it would just kind of like, it's a time warp.
Drains you for-
I'd come outside and I'd be like, well, what time is it? What day is it?
Yeah.
Why have I not seen the sun? I don't know. I knew I wanted to be in the automotive industry, and I just was stubborn about it.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
that was your only thing. You're like.
Yeah, for better or for worse.
So then after the Lee Torino thing, what happened?
I went to work for Sears Auto Center, and I did suspension stuff as well as like sales. So that was kind of like a retail / like service advisor tech position, and that was fun. I think that was the job that I had the most fun, was because I had a really good crew, and I had everybody was always willing to, you know, to answer all of my questions and stuff, and we all helped each other out. It was great. Like we played around a lot for the most part.
You learned a lot there.
Yeah.
It was nice.
And after that, I went to go work for a body shop, and I started learning how to write collision estimates as well as like tearing down front ends, so I can see like how far the damage is to the vehicle. And I'd never realized that, you know, a lot of times you figure like, oh, the car looks fine, it's just a tiny fender bender, and then you take off like the bumper and everything else, and you're like, oh my god, what happened here? So that was a change of pace. It was different.
Yeah.
You're like a detective.
Kind of. It felt that way.
You were doing that, right? You were doing the, no, you were not an adjuster. Were you an adjuster?
Yeah. I was a field appraiser or adjuster for an couple of insurance companies. So I would go to people's houses or body shops, tow yards and stuff, and write out like what needed to get repaired, replaced, or refinished and stuff. So that was fun.
Yeah, that's crazy.
One of our previous guests, Juan, his dad works at a body shop as well, and there's a lot of money in that. Like he'll go and buy salvage vehicles, bring them back, fix them up, and then sell them. And this guy's banking, dude. Like, have you ever considered doing something like that?
Flipping
Or
cars?
I did for a while, but I don't think I ever really wanted like my own shop itself.
Okay.
There's so much liability
Okay.
that comes with that, and I don't know. I selfishly, again, I wanted to have enough energy afterwards so that way I can still work on my vehicles and projects and stuff.
So that's not something you're interested in having.
No.
You want to have
enjoy?
a yonke in your house like
No,
most
my
Mexicans?
poor mom. She probably thinks I do have a yunque at her house because I've got 3 trucks that are parked there. Yeah, I need
Dripping oil.
to get going on that.
I highly doubted they're dripping oil.
No, you're right. You keep your stuff.
Shut your filthy mouth.
Sorry.
Oh, they do drip oil.
Because my brother's a tattoo artist, and
Yeah.
he used to work for shops, and he just said, he's like, I can't, like, first of all, they take a bunch of your money doing that stuff, and then he's like, and I just don't like not being my own boss.
Yeah.
Or do any of those factors at least push you a little bit towards having your own place, or you're okay with that?
I don't know, for work itself, I've always enjoyed like, you know, doing more of like the service writing end of it and explaining like how the vehicle's going to get repaired or processed through, and you know, but then after I worked for that show, it was definitely like going back to being a tech again and very much hands-on. So I'm kind of in a weird little transition area right now where I'm like kind of not sure where I want to go with that.
Well, I mean, it could be to the point where the shop is run by you without having to go in there, and you just do your projects, and these other things are paying for you to be able to work on your projects. 'Cause I feel like you're very marketable, especially in social media, and you have a presence. You have a great presence about you, and you bring a good aura to the place. So I feel like you could be really great. It could be a really great move for you to do that. She used to do roller derby, and her roller derby name was Polly Piston. Because of that,
Piston.
so that would be
Alliteration.
amazing, dude.
Is that
like,
where Penny Piston got?
yeah,
Yes.
Oh,
because
Lord.
it's like Penny, you know, the small. So
Polly and
I
Penny.
think that would be.
She's like ridiculously fast. So I used to just say she was like the 2.0 version of the Piston.
Before
She has a turbo. She's the small.
Yeah,
there you
she's
go.
got the
She's
turbo.
she's the EcoBoost.
shit.
The smaller engine with that.
Before
with the
Sarah
web.
came into Oscar's life, I had no idea that was like a real thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, wasn't there a movie on it? Where,
Yes,
Yeah.
Whip It.
Whip it.
What's her name?
Ellen
Whip it good.
What's her name?
Ellen Page. Ellen.
Wasn't there another girl?
Greg knows about it.
Ellen.
Greg knows
Who's
about
the chick
it.
from
Just
Never
trust
Been
Greg.
Kissed?
What?
No, trust Greg. Just trust.
Yes, yes.
Just trust Greg.
Shoot, what is
You know
her
who I'm
name?
talking
She came
about,
out
right?
in E.T.
Meg
Drew
Ryan?
Barrymore.
Drew Barrymore, there we go.
Is she in it too?
Ryan.
Meg Ryan. Huh?
Is she in it?
Yeah.
Oh, because I remember
Drew
seeing
Barrymore.
her in some
Yeah,
skates.
so that video was based off of TXRD in Austin. Did you guys ever go check out one of their games?
Yeah. She
Yeah.
played. She played and everything.
I
It's just.
remember she told me like she practiced with
It's
them
just
and
different.
It is different.
Yeah, I was met with a lot of resistance actually
Yeah.
because I'm a straight male. Like just because of that fact.
Wow.
Yeah,
What are you talking
definitely,
about?
100%. Because I went there and.
What are you talking about here?
Roller derby in Austin.
I thought you were
Okay.
gay.
So,
I was kidding.
so I was sucking a cock. No, wait.
Wait, the last that I heard, my little sister was not a boy.
Well, okay. So we
Wasn't
went
a
to
real
Austin.
cock.
So we went to Austin and everything, and I don't know. It was the environment was different.
Yeah.
Here in El Paso, I guess because they know the Piston sisters and everything, and for the most part,
Pistons.
I have good conversations with all of them. But over there in Austin, like, I don't know if I think I'm just an asshole or something, or I come off as an asshole. But yeah, it was. I was like met with like some sort of resistance, like yeah,
Outsider.
So like I never had anything against it, but yeah, definitely it was more like I was getting bantered or like ostracized a
just
little
picked
bit
on a little
'cause I
bit.
didn't
The
look
new guy.
Yeah.
like the person that would go watch roller derby or
Oh,
be
wow.
hanging around with roller derby, so it was kind of
Yeah.
an outsider.
I guess I can kind of say that. Yeah, roller derby has like they're very
Niche. Was it
Yeah,
niche?
yeah,
Yeah,
like
right?
a-
Yeah.
They're
Niche
people that
people, yeah.
go. So, yeah.
They're protective.
Yeah.
They're a little protective of it, maybe.
Definitely.
Yeah, I
Because
think
it's, well, from what I've seen, this is just me, my opinion,
Déjate caer.
women go there to kind of feel free, to
Yeah.
kind of let loose, to get rid of that of their day, to get rid of that kind of oppression a little bit.
energy.
I'm not gonna lie. They go there and they let loose, man.
Yeah.
They have a lot of fun. They have a lot of
Yeah.
fun. They wear their sexy outfits. They feel empowered. They feel
Yeah.
good. I feel like that's what Derby helps a woman. And Sarah said that before, that Derby helped her get out of her shell and helped her
Yeah.
be more out there and more just more outgoing. So
Yeah.
I always thought it was super cool to see the games and
Yeah.
how it affects some of the women, and you get to learn about their personal lives a little bit and all of that, and it's like, dang, like you come out here to let all that go and have some fun.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I definitely would say that Sarah and I, learned and benefited a lot from being part of the roller derby team, because like the way you said, Sarah and I are pretty much conservative. We really don't wear like really sexy outfits and stuff. So that kind of gave us the outlet, like, to kind of be silly and explore our self-confidence a little bit more. And I mean, you see so many women of all different shapes, sizes, colors, and, backgrounds and
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I've
different
been to a few
career
events
stuff.
because of us.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of neat to see us all, start to learn to appreciate, not only what our bodies can do, the physicality of
Right.
derby itself, but also to be able to see different pretty in
Yeah.
different
Yeah,
ways.
yeah.
Like,
Right.
you see somebody and you admire them, and you're like, oh my gosh, this girl's tall and got gorgeous legs. Or,
Yeah.
I mean, it's neat to not have to always be to like the norm of what beauty is. So
Right,
it
right.
was neat.
What are your opinions on the current state of feminism and where it's going and the approaches people are taking?
man.
That's a strong question. I want to hear your
Oh,
thoughts.
that's a doozy.
Definitely.
I never thought myself to be a feminist, but I don't think there's a way for me not to be a feminist and not to and be part of the automotive community. I definitely want to be an advocate for more females to get into whatever trades they want to get into, whether it's automotive, welding, HVAC, and stuff, because we are part of, we make up a large part of the workforce now, as opposed to maybe like 20 years back where, we didn't.
Right.
sometimes I don't like the way feminism is portrayed. Like, you've got like the stereotypical feminist of, the ladies that don't shave, or they just really kind of don't take care of themselves, or
Right.
they're just like man-hating ladies. I think you can be a feminist and not have to fulfill like the stereotypical type of,
prerequisites,
of,
yeah.
of feminist.
Like a little bit extreme.
Yeah, and it makes me kind of sad to say that I think people have made feminism to be something that's a bad thing.
Right.
And I don't know how I feel about that. But I definitely know that I don't want to be put in like a box and say that, I am a feminist or I'm not. I don't know. It's
Because
just,
that term itself carries such a weight.
It does. It definitely
Well,
does.
they rope you in with like the social justice people.
Yeah,
and all
yeah,
that
and I think that was something that I was kind of not prepared for when I started working on the TV show, is that I would get called a feminist a lot, and not in the good way either. They'd be like, "Oh God," like
Here comes another.
here comes another man-hating she-man kind of deal.
Damn.
Yeah, I used to get some pretty ugly
crazy.
social media comments, but I didn't want to come in and break up the the camaraderie that the show already had, or like what viewers were looking for it by simply saying like, "I'm woman, hear me roar." Like I wanted to be there because it's my passion, and it's something that I think regardless of what your gender is, that you can enjoy.
But there are barriers. I mean, that you're trying.
I guess it's kind of one of those things. If you're labeled into that feminist role, it's automatically assumed that either one, you're gay,
Right.
or two, that you hate men.
Yep.
And I don't hate men. I love men and love working with men, and it's, I don't know. I don't like all the weight that the word feminism carries. But I also don't want to disrespect it and not.
Acknowledge it.
Yeah, not acknowledge that
Yeah.
there is a gender gap within the workforce and that it needs work.
Yeah. I mean, being a female, you can speak of it, like we can't, like, it's like I can't
don't
speak what a
know.
black person goes through, because
because
I'm
we
not
don't
black,
know. Definitely.
so
But I mean, we can speak about being, being
Minorities.
discriminated, being
Yeah.
a minority. I've gone through that as far as being catcalled at work,
Yeah.
or groped, and I had to
yeah.
like sit
my
down in a
gosh.
professional way and be like, you know
Sucks.
what, like, we're not gonna escalate this, but
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, like that was unprofessional, and
Yeah.
you should like this
Ese
is
Oscar, estás bien jugoso,
That happened to
Oscar.
me
está bien
at the gym.
delicioso.
That happened to me at the gym.
¿Te agarraron la
It was
nalga o
weird.
qué?
Greg, settle down. Greg, settle down.
It was
Nobody's
really
groping
weird.
you.
Like,
Bro, ni
no,
tienes
nobody
nalgas,
groped me.
cállate, güey.
But like it was like one of those
You
things.
do calisthenics, bro. No
I
mames.
had my shirt off. Okay.
What? Okay, go.
Because seems like nowadays it seems like there's a shift between when I was growing up, like respect.
Yeah.
It was a golden rule, and it's like
Yes.
it's so simple. It's like literally the bare minimum of what we should be doing. That way we don't get in trouble. Is treat others the way you want to be treated.
Yep.
So like people was like, what are you doing about feminism? Like about women being abused? Like I don't abuse my wife or my kids. Boom. Like if everybody just did that. But anyway, now it seems like it's more like you have to earn it. Like everybody, it feels like entitled to
Yeah.
be respected instead of just giving it first. But anyway, so I was at the gym, and I for some reason there's a sign that says caution, women working at the men's room, like at the locker room.
Okay.
So women
Like
cleaning the men's
cleaning.
bathroom. But then there's also another sign that says warning, men cleaning the women's bathroom. And in my mind I'm like, why not just if you have the
Flip-flop them?
fucking personality,
Right.
Yeah,
So
so
anyway,
men at the men's and
I'm like,
women at the women.
Okay, anyway. So then I'm in there, so I'm trying to be cautious. I'm like, okay, make sure I'm not gonna like bust my, And then I'm like, so
Your
I'm
vagina
gonna,
out.
so I don't see anybody at the sink, so I'm like, I'm gonna go over here to the corner, so in case the girl comes out, then maybe I can at least like turn around or something. And so I didn't see anybody, so I'm like, I'm gonna take my shirt off real quick and just change my other shirt. And then I did it real fast. And then just then, like, the lady is walking out. It was just my shirt. Like, I had my pants on. But, like, she walks in. She goes, oh, I'm sorry. No estoy viendo, eh? No estoy viendo, right? And I'm like, if a guy did that shit to a girl, like, that would be the creepiest thing ever. And, like, I laughed it off. And I was like, oh, my God. Like, imagine
Pero bien
this
que te
all the way
gusta, bien
around.
que te gusta.
Yeah, it was like, it was nice.
Pinche
But, like,
vato.
It was
you get what I'm
nice.
saying? You
She
get what
was
I'm
a
saying, though,
flattering
right?
pervert.
Like, be honest. If a guy did that to you, you wouldn't be like, "Oh my God, what's wrong with you?"
Yes, of course I would.
It's
I don't know.
stigma.
You know what? I have seen a lot because I have some of my best friends are guys, and they get treated really bad by some of the women. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, with the catcalling and, you know, them being groseras or, you know, saying
Cochinada.
yes. And I think it's just because of the fact that they're like, oh, we're women, we can get away with it. But
Oh damn.
that's horrible. I would never
It's
say some of
respect.
this. Yeah, it's a respect thing.
It is different though. I think.
What
Like
do you mean?
I wouldn't mind being
Standard.
catcalled. Like
I wouldn't mind. Being
There's women that don't mind, you know, getting compliments and everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the point
Like, you
where
mean aggressive?
it's
Like
yeah,
grabbing
it's
you and
really
shit.
bad. Like yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's just like there's a lot of men that don't mind being like, oh, you look nice today or
Yeah.
something like
no,
that.
I think
that's
there's a difference between you look nice today too.
to like
Well,
oh
also-
damn.
Also,
Yeah.
also, it doesn't happen very often that a girl would like actually attack a guy and like try to like.
Yeah, no, it's very
Women have to be cautious about that
It's-
because they know that there's more potential for a man to actually do something about.
Yeah.
yeah, it's very like it's
not
very
the same.
far in between when it happens. Like
I got,
men are we're
I
kind
got
of.
ambushed by a group of
marranos.
cheerleaders, a group of horny cheerleaders. They all ambushed me.
This isn't this isn't your typical
You know what I mean?
typical
Ay, mijo, ¿estuviste
pornography
bien?
movie that you watch.
Like, what estuviste bien?
My mom would say that, right? Like, oh, pobrecito.
Joe Rogan had a funny thing
te
about
tocaron las
that.
niñas.
He was like, Joe Rogan had a hilarious thing about that. He's like, my favorite people in this world are women. It's my wife and my 2 daughters. But I could beat the fuck out of them, like all of them, even if I had the flu. And, like it's very true. Like it's-
Jesus Christ.
it's true.
That is true.
But I'll tell you what, Liza broke the mold
Yes.
of what the conventional woman should be. Why?
I think more and more,
Because
dude.
Her herself.
it helped out your grandma, your mom, your sisters, be a little more explorative of different ideas and how you shouldn't have to be at home, like you know, like they shouldn't
Housewife.
be do this, you shouldn't do that, and growing predominantly up in a woman household.
Yeah.
It was like they did things differently, and I think that's really awesome the way you guys grew up, and your mom is the best human out there. Like she oh my god, like I tell you what, like if I had to jump in front of a bullet for her, I would.
Damn.
She's awesome. She's an awesome person.
Good person.
Yeah.
She is an awesome person, and I don't give her enough credit the way I should, because I mean, if I hadn't grown up in the environment that you know she set up for us, I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at today. And that's just because, you know, she's always taught me that hard work, and you know, if you want to do it, if that's what you want, you go for it.
Yeah.
And granted, there was some resistance. She did not like it when I came home and I was like, Mom, I'm working at a transmission shop.
Yeah.
She's like,
I was gonna
"No,
ask
you're
you
not."
that. Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. Like, what was the?
No,
we
mija.
butt head. Yes, that's almost exactly.
¿Qué, mija?
Yes, why? Why do you want to do? And the same with roller derby. She was like, "Why do you want to go skate with a bunch of girls that are acting like bitches?"
Like,
And I was like, "Cause I get to go beat them up."
Get to beat up your coworkers for fun.
But yeah, my poor mom. I put her through a lot. Like I said, growing up, I was definitely rebellious, and I did a lot of things unconventionally.
Okay.
I had first tattoo in the family, and that was like, oh my god,
An
what did you
event.
do? Yes. And I moved out when I was fairly young. I was about 19, 20 when I got my own place, and that was another thing. Like, you know, you don't do in this culture. You don't
Right.
leave your house till you're married,
Yeah.
or going to be married. So yeah, I put my mom through the ringer for sure. But at the end of the day, she always tells me, she's like, "Is this gonna make you happy?"
Yep.
And if I tell her yes, it is, and she's like, "All right, well,
That's
get
pretty
to
cool.
it." Yeah.
And she's very supportive,
Yeah.
like out of everything. And I think she helped me out a lot when we moved to Austin.
Yeah.
Out of everyone, she's the one that helped me out a lot. Like,
It's awesome.
yeah, definitely. And she always hypes me up, and that makes me feel good. She hypes me up because I tell her, like, you know, my ambition, and she's like, I believe it. And I'm like, all right.
No.
So
People
like,
need that, you know. Sometimes
yeah,
people
definitely.
need that one person that believes in you. And you're like, when shit starts going downhill or shit hits the fan, you're like, nah, I want to do it to prove them right, or I want to
Yeah.
do it like,
Not let them down.
yeah, you know.
yeah, definitely. So, yeah, she's one of my favorite persons.
Oh,
Yeah,
she adores
definitely.
you too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ashka's a good guy.
But by the way, I think
Sometimes.
you mispronounced hype. I think you meant to say pipe.
Oh my God! Don't even
No,
go
that's
there.
a
I'm like, oh.
It's an inside joke kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
One more thing
Man.
about the feminism thing. What role, if any, do you think men have in this like feminist world or new movement or whatever? Like, or should we just stay out of the way? Like, what do you think?
Wow.
No,
question.
definitely don't stay out of the way. Be an ally. I think is the best way to put that. Is everybody has somebody in their family that's female and wanting to. I mean, not necessarily go break the mold and stuff, but just be an
Empower
ally.
themselves.
Yeah. Like I said, I've been very lucky that I've had a lot of people that have become my mentors, and they've been an ally, whether it's at a workplace or like afterwards in a shop or somewhere, or just somebody I can call and bounce ideas off of. And I think that's the best gift that you can give anybody is to be on their side. Like say, hey, you know what? I know you're going through a rough time, or this might not be working out for you, but try it this way, or
That's
a
when
little bit of kindness
Yeah.
goes so long and far in between. Like I can't say that that's just something for feminists itself, but rather for everybody. But yeah, if you're looking for a way to help, I guess push the feminist movement, whatever that may be, is I would just say be kind and be an ally.
to women.
Yeah.
To women. Yeah, I mean, all of my bosses have been women.
Yeah.
The head that not controls but like oversees Texas.
Yeah.
Like all of Texas division is a woman. My boss in the Pioneer Bank was a woman.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, I've only had one male boss, and that's been a household. Yeah, he was cool. But
I
yeah,
had one female boss.
you had one female boss.
Yeah, Allstate. She was an appraiser, and she was also a mechanic for a while. So that was really that was the first time that I was able to be managed by a female, and it was fun. It was different because up until then all my managers or higher ups had been males. But yeah, it was kind of neat to see that she knew the difficulties that I was facing with the job, so she was sympathetic to the cause. But like I said, a lot of the people that I've worked with, I've been very fortunate enough to where they believe in me enough to stick their neck out for me just enough so that I could get my job done and be good at it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right.
So
That's man, I totally lost my train of thought. We go back to that, to being open-minded, and whether it's a woman or a man, and taking that constructive criticism because they feel like not that they know better for you, but like you can do this better. Like, oh, let me hook you up.
Oh yeah.
Whether it be a man or a woman, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely. I feel like I've had really good role models, whether it be men or women. And
I like that you say that if you love something or if you want to excel at your job, you got to have an open mind to where you're able to receive constructive criticism.
Yes.
And being an ally, I would definitely say, is not somebody that's just like your yes man or yes woman, but more so like, yeah, that's great where you're going, but think about this and that too. And having I don't want to say the balls to tell you when you're doing something wrong, but friend enough to where, I mean, if you're a good friend or you love somebody, you're not going to let them leave looking, the house looking like a bum, right? Say like, hey, clean up a little bit, so we can all go out together or whatever. And it's the same with the job, you have to tell somebody sometimes the hard truth, like, hey, you know what, that's not coming out to what it should be. Like, you got to start over again, and you got to have like that trust in each other that you can say like, hey, you know what, this is not good. You're going to need to do it again, or, start over, or whatever it is.
Well, that's a big part of being open-minded, right? I think we take it as, you just have to, like you said, a lot of the times, I'm just going to accept everything that's coming. But a lot of the times is really just challenging those thoughts. And Oscar talks about that all the time, that before the podcast, that you felt like you had a little bit of a bias towards a lot of things, and then when you received new information, you allowed yourself to challenge those thoughts. Like, okay, well, where's the evidence? Or what am I basing this off of? And then now you have new information. You always have to grow.
Yeah.
You always have to grow.
Leave it better than how you found it. That's an Eric Thomas quote. This guy, he's a motivational speaker. So leave everything better than how you found it. And if this person can help you leave it better than how you found it, then definitely. And Yeah, I don't know. I would lose my train of thought because I'm trying to bunch everything up and connect
You're
it somehow.
You're excited. You're like,
Yeah, definitely. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I totally did.
Eliza, I wanted to, oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead, dude.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, we talked a lot about the past and the present. So as far as the future goes, because we were talking about this before Urban got here, if you had any plans to start like a YouTube channel or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm going to be starting a YouTube channel. Okay. And of course, this is like after my day job. But I do want to kind of cover not so much how to do stuff, but more or less kind of like the progression of the different projects that I have going on, as well as like maybe different off-road adventures. I'm going to be going to Moab for Easter Jeep Safari with a couple of my good friends, and that's kind of like the mecca of off-roading. Everybody who's anybody is going to be out off-roading there, and I've never been. That's awesome. So I'm really excited about that. And also, like, El Paso is kind of like a hub of where people kind of land here for a little bit between the East Coast and West Coast. And there's a lot of races that happen, back and forth that El Paso, they drive through here or they even, stop here for the night, but there's not somewhere where, like, kind of, like, provides them a landing pad. Whether it's to, spruce up their vehicles or go through things, one last time. But I'd also want to take advantage of the fact of, being able to interview them and kind of get their thoughts on the off-road community or off-road racing and stuff, and kind of see how they got their start. I love people's stories of, where they started and, what inspired them to get into, the automotive industry or whatever it is. I think it's neat to see people's, paths getting to where they want to go.
Yeah. That's an awesome concept.
Yeah. I think personally, that's one of the things I've found most doing this podcast. We've only interviewed 4 people, but it's super fun listening to people's stories. And I find myself doing that all the time, whether it's at bars or at parties or whatever, just talking to people about their life and their story and what passion. Like the questions I always like to ask is, what are you passionate about? What motivates you? And what are some goals that you have in the future or whatever? And everybody always has great answers for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they do.
It's super exciting.
Nobody gets to talk about that stuff.
I think that's an awesome concept. We go, like, if you do it full circle, okay. So let's say that you do it, and you open that shop, and it gets to a point where you're able to do your own side projects. These people come in, you interview them, and then, you get to, like, kind of... hype them up, well, let's pull in your vehicle into the shop and let's go over your vehicle. And this is their thing. So they're going to be excited to talk to you about their vehicle and how they built it and what's in it and everything. So I think that concept is really great. Even if you start off locally, there's a lot of people that do sand drags. Like our family, our cousin, they have a Jeep that they've modified. They extended the axle, like they made the gear shorter. Like they did a bunch of stuff.
What color is that Jeep?
Red with white stripes. It's called El Taz.
I know
it used to be brown, but now.
You know which one?
El Taz.
Have you seen it?
Legend.
Okay.
That thing.
I've seen it.
I
probably even have video of it.
Oh,
going
wow.
down.
It sounds beautiful.
That's awesome.
You know, people from El Paso, I think slowly we're starting to realize what we have here, like that it's a very special place, the culture and the talent and just the people that we have that we can, even for us, this little podcast, like we have a lot of people that we can interview, we can talk to. So good luck with your.
No, definitely. And
like
you have the presence.
As soon as I get that stuff up and running, I definitely love to have you guys.
You have the presence for it, and you have the light for it. So I just do it as soon as possible.
That was one thing I was gonna say. Whenever I saw you in that video, like I almost had to be like, "Oh, that's her," because you look very comfortable.
Like you've been there a million times.
I was just like,
that's what I was talking about when you said the HVAC, that you don't have a lot of experience. That's what I'm talking about. Like acting like you've been there many times before. It helps out.
How'd you get to that? To get comfortable?
It was hard. It was definitely something I had to work at. But it was more so on how I was feeling about myself. Like I had to really dig down and remind myself that I do know what I'm talking about. I do know what I'm doing, and that I have something interesting enough to say.
Right.
And so I think once I got over my self-confidence of being not enough,
right,
then that's when I started to see a difference on the camera, that I looked more at ease and came across more genuine than when I was trying hard to act one way or another.
I think that's really good advice for anybody who's behind a camera or something. Just kind of work on your own like yourself, and you'll
Yeah.
project that.
Oh yeah, you'll be
Yeah, yeah.
surprised at how quickly people can pick up on your insecurities when you don't feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
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 When you pretend, like, you could tell when someone is being fake. Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, you definitely can, and I know, like, watching some of like my early stuff on XOR, I can
Yeah.
totally tell that.
You're like,
Yeah, it makes me cringe. I'm like,
oh, yes.
So do you like watching yourself or not really?
no, it's still hard.
Yeah, I bet. That's
I love
crazy.
watching myself.
I don't.
I'm not gonna lie.
I watch these episodes. All the views we have, it's just me.
I'm not gonna lie. I really don't watch the podcast. I just press like and
It's
count the
hard.
view,
It is
but I really
hard.
don't watch it.
It is hard, but I started, watching them, so I kind of started to pick out, like different tics or nervous habits that I would
And work on
kind
them?
of, and work on that. I don't know. It's kind of one of those things like you don't want to watch yourself because then you're like, well, people are gonna think I'm full of myself.
No, but
But then how do you?
That's self-improvement,
it
man.
gives you a unique opportunity to really see, like you said, like
Progress.
to really like see what your habits are and everything.
Oh,
Because
yes.
you can't do that with everything, but with that, it's just like a particular.
Yeah, it is. You get to see yourself, and you're like, oh wow.
Like,
I
why
didn't
did I move
realize-
like that? Or yeah.
Yeah, you're like, I didn't know I did that, or oh my god.
One
my
thing I was gonna tell you is
laugh's
that
annoying, or whatever. You know?
My laugh's annoying
you're very
regardless.
good at enunciating. That's one thing I noticed about
Oh,
you.
thank you.
Because I mumble a lot because like my words kind of get jumbled together. But yeah, I was like, man, she's not even skipping a beat. Like she's going through it. Do you have a script or a teleprompter or something?
No, we didn't. So we would write out kind of more or less where we wanted the conversation to go.
Oh, okay.
But for the most part, it was. I mean,
Riffing?
it would take a lot of takes, but
Yeah.
once I kind of got into the rhythm of whatever I wanted to say, and it would take like 2-3 takes, and then
Okay.
they'd be like, okay, that one was a good one.
Nice. No
Yeah.
bloopers. Yeah.
So it's kind of riffing.
I would love to see some
A
bloopers.
lot of bloopers.
You're like, I'm done.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much I cussed until like I would have to watch the stuff back, or like they'd have
You
to like
mess up or something.
beep stuff out.
Let me-
or
I'm sorry. Let me interrupt you with that.
Yeah.
That would be like so awesome. As soon as you start doing this, like you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You don't have to edit out the cussing and all that. You get to be yourself, and it flows. You flow with it, Like, I think that's gonna be super great for you to do it like that, and you don't have to edit all of that out, and then cut away to like somebody else speaking. Like it's just gonna be, your own ideas and thoughts, and
Should be fun.
yeah.
Cover your ears with all the. Well, maybe I'll bleep some of it out so that it's not so
Keep it
offensive.
PG.
Derechito,
No, I've
derechito.
actually quit cussing as much because of, like I had to be very mindful of
for
what I
sure.
was saying.
Camera friendly.
Yeah.
Trust me, once you start editing and you're like, oh, I don't want to bleep all this. Like, I'm just gonna leave it.
You just
That's what I started doing.
Well, some of the times, like I mean, some of the stuff that I would end up saying,
Yeah.
it was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was like kind of one of those things. It could be borderline offensive, so they would bleep it out.
There's a little bit of pressure with the camera. Like, you're like, why am I saying all these things?
Yes, yes.
And then you're like
Sometimes
trying to
you even say
backtrack,
more.
And you're
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
backtrack, and you're like, ah.
It's pretty cool. That's one of the things you learn quickly about doing something like this. People open up. Like,
Yeah.
as soon as you turn on the camera, you put on the mic, and it's like
They
just
can't
wanna-
wait.
Yeah, it's a lot easier than you expect to interview people.
I think it's because I think our personalities kind of put people at ease. I would like
you're
to
right.
think
It's
so.
us.
I don't know
Yeah,
if you feel
definitely
that way.
so,
'Cause
definitely so.
We've had people like Gilbert, he looked nervous. You could tell he was like, oh my God, like, what's this going to be
It's
like?
'cause he's
But
naturally
then
a
once we
quiet
start
guy.
talking, you realize we're just having a conversation. We just happen to be
Yeah,
mic'd
the
up.
way that you guys have this set up and all three of your personalities make for the interview to go very smoothly.
Oh, thank you.
I've had some other interviews that have not gone as
Very
smooth,
rigid.
and where I like left thinking, what did I just say?
How long were these interviews you were doing?
Like sometimes they were even like a 2-3 minute interview, but
Yeah.
it was
See,
just
that's-
so awkward that
that's
I
kinda
just
the-
wanted to hurry up and run and
Yeah.
get out of there.
Like,
Like the cool thing about these long form podcasting is that you have time to settle in. You have time to go through your little awkward phase,
Yeah.
and then you calm down, and then you get panicked, and then you say something else, and it's like so you get the whole spectrum of
True,
the
true,
conversation rather than getting a little like.
Yeah, the short interviews are those are hard. Yeah, because you have to hurry up and get a lot
Well,
of information out quickly.
That's a big problem. I know, like Bernie Sanders, he was on Joe Rogan, and he said that that's the problem with the debates.
Yeah.
As far as like they want you to encompass everything that you want to do for the country in like in 10 seconds. Like, how the hell are you supposed to do that? Like, you should really let them talk for like an hour or something.
Right. I don't
You know
know.
what
And it goes back to like what we were talking about, that social media and all this immediate accessibility stuff just doesn't allow for people to talk for a long time, or even
Right.
like for the audience.
But there's
to
a
stay
big
engaged.
market for this type of long form entertainment.
Well, it started to be, because if you notice, like everything for the most part, they're trying to condense it. They're trying to make you get everything out. Like there's Instagram stories, you only have this much amount. TikTok, you only have this much amount. Like you only have this much amount of time. So everything's like you gotta put it out there. You gotta put it out there. So
What do you find yourself spending most time like for entertainment or for stuff? Like, do you listen to a lot of podcasts or
Netflix and chill.
No, I do listen to a lot of podcasts.
what are some of your favorites?
or one.
You guys are gonna laugh because it's like so cheesy, but I love Oprah's podcast. And,
Oprah?
Oh, that's a good
I
one.
didn't know she had one.
Listen,
good
I'm
one.
sure some people are embarrassed to admit they listen to us, so we should
No,
never be
no.
embarrassed.
No, Oprah.
family
Oprah's a
is
good
always-
one. Sarah loves that. Loves
Yeah.
that podcast, and she does a lot of inner well-being, and she invites a lot of like high-profile guests, and she tells their story.
What do they
and-
talk about or what?
like that? Like Kevin Hart, like.
Things, yeah.
kind of like the same format that you guys have here. Like, she wants to know all the whys and hows, and hers is a little bit more like spirituality,
Okay.
kind of well-being focused, but just a lot of the people that she interviews are very interesting people.
Yeah, and they open up to her because I mean it's Oprah.
Yeah.
Question:
I mean, how
Does she
could you
give
not,
out
right?
free things?
I don't know.
Here's a new car, by the way. Anyways,
But
how's your wife?
I'm just so sad that I never made it to any of her Christmas like giveaways.
Or Ellen. Well, you can go
right?
to Ellen now.
Oh, Ellen's got her.
the one. You just
Yeah.
have to. I have kids, so I have the most potential here because I just
You
have to
do?
record them do something cute.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna
true, though.
exploit the hell out of my kid.
Or a puppy.
Oh my god, that's terrible. You're
mentioned
gonna want the next
spirituality.
Michael Jackson or
say?
Selena or something.
That she mentioned spirituality. That's something we haven't really talked about. What are you a spiritual person? Would you consider yourself?
Yeah, I would consider myself a spiritual person. Like I said earlier, I'm not the best practicing Catholic, but I do know what we were raised upon, like, and I try and keep to being a good person every day.
Okay, so that's just your like foundation. Just
Yeah,
Be a good person.
be a good person.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I agree with it.
Like prayer. Do you do a lot of meditation, prayer?
I never considered like meditation, but I guess like working on a vehicle is kind of like meditation.
'Cause you're
You kinda
thinking
get
about stuff.
Yeah, you just kind of get into your zone of where you're just, your mind's blank and you're just doing what you got to do.
Into the flow state.
The
Yeah.
flow state. Yeah, there you go. You're on it. I don't think I have something. I have to like really like just. I think long car drives do that
Oh,
for me.
yeah.
Just long car drives
Yeah.
without the radio on.
Like road trips.
No. Like cruising. Cruise. Like go for a cruise. Go take the 375 all around.
Yeah.
Damn.
You do that?
Yeah, I've done that
It'll just
before.
kill
Dude,
you
I
out
kill
or
a
what?
gas tank. Like just.
You
Just
get like
going
what
for a
50 miles per
cruise.
gallon in that bad boy?
I don't even know how much, but ever since I put the mud terrain tires on, it's
ouch.
terrible. But I don't mind it. Yeah, definitely. That's what helps me out a lot.
Yeah, I agree with you. I love cruises.
Especially after I wash my truck. After I wash it,
Te vas en
y
la
luego,
rampla.
sí, pues para que
Well, it's kind of
miren.
like, when you're leaving to a party, you're all spiffy and stuff.
Yeah.
People see you. So when your vehicle's nice and clean, you're like,
You just want
After, she's gonna help me put brake pads and the rotors on my truck. So how much you want to bet? After we do that, we're gonna go somewhere.
Yes.
And need something and then brake hard like mira puto, le puse brake gas.
they work.
just breaking extra.
Mira. No hacen ruido.
That'll be the kicker if you're like stepping on the brake and you're not stopping. You're like, oh shit.
We didn't bleed it
I
out.
thought you were on a show, Liza.
You forgot the pads. I wait. Yeah, and I was not gonna lie. I was gonna like do the oil change, but now that you said it, like, and you hate it, I'm like, oh shit. I guess I'm not gonna do the oil change.
No, we can definitely do it. It's not the work per se. It's just getting rid of the oil. Ugh.
Can we record it?
Yeah.
Can we start it from there?
Yeah.
No, the brake pads and the rotor.
Oh, I thought you
Not
were
a lot
talking
of
about
people know
oil
how to
change.
do that. I
you wanna
fucking
do
suck
that?
at changing brakes.
Yeah, we can do it.
Because I don't know how to. You have to like push and the cylinder and the chingaderas. I had an old Ram.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I tried changing the brakes on that bad boy, and it was terrible. Like it was a slant six, four shifts,
Okay.
4 gears. whatever.
We'll get together, man. If you guys need some help with that, we can talk about it.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. I also want to cam it.
Okay.
That's hard. I know that's fucking hard.
That's a little bit harder, but yeah, we can do it.
And then it's kind of.
I need to get a couple of tools beforehand, but yeah, we can.
What do you need?
Probably need to get like a degree wheel and
I know what that is.
a couple of other stuff.
I know what that is.
It's a degree wheel, Irvin.
Cause
Wheel.
And then like with the manifold, where I was going with the
a
manifold,
compass.
Certain degrees.
like when I told you about the manifold and the like, I was just looking at it and I was
Yeah.
googling shit like, oh yeah, you shouldn't get the fuel rails, and then someone get the fuel rails, and then Eliza's all like, you definitely need the fuel rails.
Oh yes.
So yeah, so
There's
I
a lot
was-
of purists out there, probably, right? Like,
I don't know. So a lot of them tell you to not modify your truck, like leave everything O&M because that's the way it's supposed to be. Like,
have
but
do
for
you ever
me,
leave
it's like
comments?
let's cut shit out.
Do you
Let's
leave
cut shit out.
comments, Eliza, on videos like that, or do
Do
you
I
just
what?
don't watch them? Do you ever watch like videos of people are like, "This is how you do it," and you're watching, you're like, "No, don't do that," and then
No,
that ever happen
not
to you?
really.
No?
I've never come across something that's that
like blatant,
like blatant where I'm like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that.
Okay, that's good.
But no,
Okay, well, that's good. Hey, that's
no,
good.
I haven't.
Rather that's
But
not
I
happening.
guess it's kind of like there's more than one way to skin a cat. So
True,
there's
true,
a
true.
I mean just different on what outcome you want. And that's what I was telling Oscar is that what do you want your vehicle to do?
Okay.
And based on what you want it to do is kind of what you want to tailor your build around.
True.
I just wanted to sound
That makes
pretty.
sense.
I just wanted to sound pretty, and then when you pop the hood, like it has some wow factor to it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much
Hit my
it.
ride type thing.
Sort of, but actually functioning. That stays functioning for a
Actually-
long time.
I actually
Yeah.
just watched a video of this guy. His name is Tavares. I don't know if you heard of him.
Oh, he
Wait.
fixed the minivan.
Yeah, the minivan from my Pimp My Ride.
Yeah,
it was like
the-
abandoned for like 4 years, and he got it to run again.
Yeah, and he has a bunch of monitors and everything.
pretty cool.
He actually went #1 on trending. Good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, check that out.
Yeah, just look up Tavares.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure
Tavares?
it'll be like the first video that comes up.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Tavares.
Yeah, that's all I want for my truck, cause that's like my first truck that I've worked really hard to buy.
Yeah.
It's a nice
So it's gonna
truck,
be my
dude.
baby, and I'm
I
gonna
don't tell
keep
you
it.
that enough, but
Nobody can have that truck.
it's better than Irvin's car for sure.
No, he has
I'm
a.
just kidding.
He has a six. He has a 6 Camaro, and
Are you
it's
done paying that thing yet?
I have like 3,000 left.
this
Do
guy.
you still have your Civic? Your
What?
slam
Really?
Civic?
Nah, I had to sell it.
This guy
because-
talking about finances and shit.
Oh, I'm just saying.
Because he owns this piece of shit car.
Listen,
Hey.
whenever I came back.
Don't.
Don't.
It's a 4-cylinder.
Yeah,
Get
no,
the fuck out of here.
it's not a Camaro. But what I'm saying is that when I first learned that you bought yourself a car,
Correct.
and then I saw it, I was like, "Are you gonna be okay? Like paying this off?"
This guy, this
Remember, we had
guy.
a discussion before about this.
I had to sell my buddy and other stuff, but it worked out.
Yummy.
It worked out
I'm a
eventually.
cheap bastard, man. I
Wow.
was like, "Oh, don't do it."
Can you tell me where? Because I was trying to get rid of my kidneys for like
Oh
truck
my
parts.
Listen,
Okay, if you were to get rid of your
We need
kidneys,
to get.
Who
we
would
need
you
get
give it to?
together.
no. What truck part would you buy for the kidneys?
For kidneys?
What would
Depends
you
on
trade for
get
kidneys?
it, right?
An Atlas transfer case.
What's an Atlas transfer case? Yeah, get
awesome.
down.
It's
I'd
a
love to
get it,
performance
Liza.
transfer
Get it.
case,
That sounds awesome.
and you can isolate the front axle and the rear axle to work at once or both at the same time. Yeah,
That's crazy.
it's got like twin sticks and stuff. So
so wait,
Okay,
It's
so
like
what was that?
transferring. It's like transferring the traction control from where you want it. From
Yeah.
the
Nuts.
So for rock crawling,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Oh shit!
Have you ever seen that video of that 4Runner that's on its side, like that on a mountain kind of deal?
yes, I did see that.
I was like,
Spider
no
truck?
freaking way. 4Runners, I'll tell you what, 4Runners, they make the best builds for like rock crawling and stuff like that. As far as what I've seen, from what I've seen,
Right.
Yeah.
they're like small, and like if you put like big springs and suspensions and all of that, like
Yeah.
the way they move is crazy. I don't know,
Toyota makes good stuff, right?
but it's usually
Yeah,
a
they
Jeep
do.
kind of. Would you say you're a Jeep kind of person, or not really?
Not really, but I guess I kind of am because I've got the JK and then both of those trucks are Jeep Willis's, so I guess so.
You lean more towards the Jeeps. Now, if it's a
I'm
good
not
build, it's a
sure.
good build,
Yeah.
regardless of
Yeah.
what it
Yeah,
is.
respect
Okay.
for it, yeah.
Toyota Tacomas, I'll tell you what. We went to Red Sands, and both of my uncle's Chevys got stuck, and this Tacoma went in reverse up the hill and took them out, dude. Both of them. I was there.
At the same
That's
time?
that's a truck I want.
Not at the same time.
That'd be sick.
Ya ni chingas.
Now that
What is
would
it?
be
The
something.
Tesla?
I bet you the Cybertruck can do it.
Bro, that's something that I said.
Uphill.
That's something that I said. How come they didn't try it off road? I want to see what it does off road.
Yeah, they didn't show many videos of
I'm
that.
sure they will.
Well, they said that it
pretty sick.
didn't he say that it could do the Baja run? And
Yeah.
But without having to modify it. That's what he said. You don't have to modify
You
it.
don't have video
It's already good to go.
Video check.
But they didn't show any videos.
I mean, it sounds legit.
So, am I gonna believe this guy?
Well, do you know
I believe
Mustang?
it.
Probably.
You know Mustang made an SUV or something?
Mustang?
Did you see that video for it?
No.
SUV.
Yeah, they made a
What?
SUV.
Yeah.
And like it was going through snow and stuff. It looked pretty impressive.
Have you seen the Shelby truck? Have you seen that?
I saw one the
I
other
saw
day.
pictures of it.
Oh my god, it's sexy. I was like,
It's badass.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's badass, and
Yeah.
it got a big old motor. Like the Raptor, I couldn't believe that the Raptor has that much power, like that big of a motor.
How big
in
is
a
it?
truck? What is it? 6.2, right?
6.2 liter, yeah.
That's
It's
like
super
that's like a
truck.
truck. I mean a truck, a bigger truck, like a
Yeah.
dually almost.
Yeah.
Trying to process all this.
Yeah, dude. Holy bejesus.
All the horsepower and torque.
How much?
I don't know, but I would say
I don't know. It's
I think it's like about 360.
something
Yeah.
like that.
So for a person who's not really into that kind of stuff, off-roading, but wants to just have like a nice little vehicle,
Yeah.
just to go off-roading, what do you recommend?
I like how we all stay
Again,
quiet.
it
And
just
can you
depends. It depends what
because we
you.
can't really hear you that well.
Oh, sorry.
A Razor go kart.
It just depends on what kind of terrain you're trying to
Yeah.
conquer. But if you're looking for something like straight right out of the box, I'd say a Jeep.
Just a nice
Okay.
Jeep. You're
Yeah.
good to go.
Yeah, because it's got like a really awesome wheelbase to where you can't really get stuck in a lot of places.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
So the
They're
new
light
So the
and-
new Bronco.
Do an ATV.
Oh man, that new Bronco is nice. I was
you were
really
talking
hoping.
about-
Yeah, I was really hoping it was going to be like the full size Broncos, like 71, 72, 73. But I do like the Raptor front end.
The Raptor.
Yeah.
It has a Raptor front end. The new Broncos are gonna have the new Raptor.
Someone told me
front
the
end.
new Raptors are a little less powerful than the older ones.
I don't know if that's true.
Is that true?
I don't
That
know.
I don't know.
No?
Yeah.
No.
Google it.
But yeah,
skins out.
outside of a Jeep, if you want a truck, the Tacomas are awesome.
What are they called? The pre-runners or what are they called? Something
No,
like that.
just the TRD.
The TRDs.
Toyota
That's the one
Racing
Juan has,
Special
Diana's
Development.
boyfriend.
Oh, yeah.
He has that.
Juanete?
Yeah, and it's nice looking.
Cabeza de cohete?
They're really cute cars.
Just also
Are they?
Tundra. I was
Cuties.
thinking of Tundra. Sorry.
Oh, Tundras are nice too. Those will awesome. I mean, you can't really go wrong with a lot of like the newer four-wheel drive vehicles. They all
I
perform
heard
very
the
well.
PJ runners or is it PJ?
The
FJ
FJ Cruisers.
FJ
Oh, the
Cruiser. I heard
FJs,
those are
yeah,
actually
those are
pretty
nice.
underrated. Like. as
Oh
far as-
yeah, I mean, it's almost the same kind of wheelbase setup that the Jeep has, but this is independent suspension, so
Okay.
you get a lot more travel, and I mean, they work really well. And then Toyotas naturally are geared down naturally, like they're born right. It's kind of how I feel about all the
Yeah,
vehicles. They're all
definitely.
babies.
Yeah, definitely.
But
beautiful
they're
way of
geared
looking at it.
down a little bit more than most of the domestics. So
I have to
it's-
ask because my wife wants an SUV really bad.
Yeah,
What would you recommend?
A Forerunner.
an SUV. What are you guys going to be doing? Traveling? or
Just like
daily driver.
Yeah.
I love the Forerunners.
Okay. She wants a lot of space.
Oh, she wants a lot of
Like,
space.
She wants like 3 rows.
Go with Suburban.
Yeah, it's-
Tahoe.
yeah, it's Suburban Tahoe. I was I don't like the Ford SUVs as much anymore.
No.
Okay.
No, I liked it when they were like big old monsters.
Yeah.
The Excursions and the Expeditions. I don't know if I had to have a mom wagon, I think I'd probably end up going like a Sequoia.
Okay. Those are
Good
pretty
deal.
nice.
Those are Toyotas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those are nice.
I told her just go straight minivan, but she doesn't.
Oh,
want to.
nah.
No,
Don't
I
mess
don't
her up like that.
Why don't we just
unless
buy
it
a
was like
nice-
a 4-wheel drive, like old school van, like
Right.
like the Shaggy.
Or
you
like
know,
Oh,
the Mystery
yeah.
Machine, but 4-wheel drive. That I think that's like the
or
only
like
kind
an
of van.
18 van or something.
Yeah. I think
Well, stop
that's-
having kids. You won't need a freaking
tell
big
her-
ass car.
Well, I tell her, why don't we just get a
Mochale.
nice truck that we could take off roading, and then we'll just get like a.
There you go. You can't ever go wrong with having a pickup. I mean, you always need a bed to throw stuff in.
So there you go, babe. A
Tailgates.
Sequoia. We'll get you a Sequoia.
O queda en una troquita, pues sí, agárrate una troca. What is your sentiment on lifting a non 4x4 vehicle?
I don't mind it. I mean,
You
I
don't mind
lived in
it?
my poor little Toyota Tacoma. It was a pre-runner.
But that's the standard, though.
Well,
Those are
no,
nice.
It has a
but-
little bit more.
Well,
more
it's
torque.
not four-wheel drive. It's just a pre-runner.
You look down on non-4-wheel drives.
I don't, because I started off with a non-four-wheel drive. No, I mean, whatever makes you happy in your vehicle, then do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to lift my truck because I want like I was saying, I just
That's
wanted
nice.
to go fast and sound nice. That's about
That
it.
just reminded me of Cali, and because my brother's kind of a cholo.
Yeah.
And
Kind
he
of.
has, like,
I-
he has low
Pretty much a cholo.
He enjoys low riders. I remember from a young kid, like he would take me out with his what they call them, homeboys. I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. And
You know,
Tell us more about this world.
it's called homeboys, spelled H-O. I'm just kidding. And then he had they all had like little low riders, and they had the hydraulics. I just remember
Oh,
being in there,
nice.
and he'd be like flip the switches, and I was like, damn. Have you ever messed around with any of those things?
I haven't, but I do have an admiration for like their setups. They're incredible.
Are they really?
Oh,
Suspension,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's
'Cause
all
they have to
suspension.
reinforce
so
it,
whether,
huh?
Whether it's like hydraulic suspension or it's air driven, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just amazing the stuff that they do and the fabrication that goes behind
Yeah.
it. It's intense.
How?
Yeah.
What do you got to do to make that car just go fucking high like that and not mess up?
It's like
And
air,
how do
right?
the tires not pop?
I don't know.
That's
Isn't it
crazy.
Air and spring.
and they're
Yeah,
like
air
the
springs
little
and
ass
hydraulics, yeah.
tires.
Yeah, dude, these cholos got it all figured out. Like
Their
they're
little
all.
Daytons.
Jesus
spokes.
Christ, they're smart to a certain extent.
Oh yeah,
Dude, you'd be
Definitely
surprised.
so.
The stories Scotty's telling me about prison, how like what the things they do is like, yeah, dude, we used to make a.
You have to be
Like little
ingenious.
engineers. almost.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
Well, he
were.
made his own tattoo gun, right?
it's like, how do these guys get caught? They're
They
so,
were engineer. They were like to do bad stuff. Like we were like the best.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I always say. Like if we were to like just channel that energy to something good,
Something productive.
probably cure cancer
They're
at
over
this
here
point.
making
Hey, this
alcohol
right here.
out of like random ass shit.
No,
You
he
put
told,
it-
one time he told me like the best shank material. I was like, "Can't you make shank out of this?" He's like, "You don't want that." You know
Listen.
what the best material? And he's like, "You see that piece of metal, the spring that's in a mop?" And I'm like, "What? Like, how did you even what?"
Jesus Christ.
Mops have springs? Oh my god.
So yeah,
Well, I think that's kind of why I was kind of attracted also to like the off-road market is because we do take a lot of things off of other vehicles that are
Yeah. Cannibalize it, basically.
yeah, I mean, we just kind of Frankenstein stuff together.
Oh
and
yeah.
make
Like
it
what's
work.
make it
an
a
example
smooth,
of
nice
that?
ride.
For example, I mean, you see a lot of Jeeps with like a 350 engine setup. Like, you know, it's something that
350Z?
would have been no, like 350, like the old school Chevy motors. So you get a lot of vehicles that have like donor parts from other vehicles. So it's not like they're not all true to like Chevy or Jeep or Ford per se.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
How difficult is it to do that? Like to get an engine from another car and fit
it
it
in.
into a new one,
It's a lot of work.
right?
It is a lot of work. It's not impossible, but it's a lot of work.
Because what do you got to do? You got to like change the mounts, change the.
Yeah, you have to change where like the engine is going to sit at, and then you also have to take into consideration like the transmission.
The
and-
transmission.
yeah, and everything else that goes behind the transmission.
Do you have to
so.
retrofit anything as far as like, are all the fluids pretty much compatible with everything? Because I know we do that like for refrigerant compressors and stuff. Like if it's a different system, you have to take everything out.
Yeah,
clean it
well,
out.
kind of like especially if it's going to be like an older vehicle that had like a
Okay.
generator setup, then yeah, you switch that over to an alternator setup or.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of retrofitting and a lot of fabrication that goes into stuffing a motor in a vehicle that it didn't originally come with.
Yeah.
Yeah, like old to new and
Yeah.
new to old kind of thing. That's crazy.
I'm telling you, dude, those new motors are exciting. Like the power that these things are
We
generating.
could talk about this all day for sure.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to drop a GTO motor inside the Ram that I had. Because my
Yeah.
friend wanted to get rid of just the motor.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, well, if I buy it, but then I started thinking about the transmission and how far is it, everything gonna sit.
yeah.
But just thinking about it like a truck with a GTO motor.
And the cool thing now is that there's so many small shops or fabrication shops that are now selling like different brackets, or they've already done all of like the what's called grunt work for it. And so if you look into it, a lot of things have already, like, you've got a lot of adapters and plates that will help you
Oh, that's
Right.
awesome.
make like the switch easier.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, like you
Yeah.
want to fit that 350? Oh yeah, we
It's like
got
a
the
kit,
brackets for
right?
that.
Yep.
Like, that's awesome.
It's just interesting to think about that because you hear about like for example these fine-tuned vehicles that are like the weight distribution has to be like this or else when you're turning like it does that.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
just funny hearing that it's like, oh, we're getting this engine from this other car, putting it here.
You're
Like, what if that mess like what if it's messing up the weight in the front or like
Yeah.
are these all things
But
that
they
have to
account for
consider?
that. Yeah, they
Yeah,
account for that.
that's
They make
definitely
it look
stuff they
easy.
account for. When we were building the pre-runner on the show, we had to take into consideration like we're going to be jumping the vehicle, so you want most of like the weight to be centered.
Okay.
Yeah, so that way when you jump, your front end doesn't want to just come immediately down.
I always wondered in the movies, like, does that really work that way? Like when they're going and then poof, and the truck just
Or like
somehow like it
the
lifts.
Dukes of Hazzard, like they used to jump all the time.
on the
They
ice.
probably wrecked their suspension every time they landed. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Because I would imagine
Ouch.
it just goes down like
Hurts.
that.
Back in
Well,
the old
that's-
days, those cars were not meant for like.
No, they were modifying them a little bit, but they definitely weren't made for the Suns itself. What did they say? How many Chargers did they wreck?
Too many. Yeah.
Way too many.
I would have at least would like to have 2 of those just to put one, like make one out of like 3 of those wrecked ones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You were jumping cars, you said?
What?
No, but we were making the pre-runner able to like
Do
go
that
over
kind of
like
stuff.
different
Able to.
whoops and like hills and stuff.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so you have to have like the suspension enough to where you jump something. I mean, you're up in the air about what 5, 6, 7 feet
Yeah.
in the air, and then you have to land the landing.
And it's heavy ass cars,
Yep.
right? Like
How much has to be replaced after a run like that? Is it pretty
Most
hold up a lot or?
So most people that are in like the racing community, once they do like their full on run or like their pre-run, they'll go back, take everything apart, and then nut and bolt it and go back to making sure that
yeah,
everything
no
is together
way.
again.
Wow.
Oh yeah,
Grease
that's
it,
a
clean
shitload
it.
Yeah.
of work.
it's a
NASCAR
lot of
shit.
work. And once they get ready for the race itself, they'll go through everything, make sure everything's good to go, and then they race and they come back and they take apart everything again and go through
Yeah.
it. To
That's
make sure.
beautiful.
Sure.
So this is
Yeah.
these
I
people's
think that's
lives.
beautiful. Yeah.
It's a lifestyle, man.
I think
like
if you do that with everything that you do,
Mm-hmm.
and go back to the basic and build it up, I think that's a beautiful thing. That's pretty much what I'm doing with my bodybuilding.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna have to start all over because I'm getting injured more and more, and I think it's just the way that I'm training and I'm not sticking to the basics. Like I just need to go back, grease up everything,
Yeah.
or take it apart, oil it up, and then come back, a little bit better every time.
That's cool.
So
I'm gonna start
yeah,
doing
Yeah,
that with
it's
the
definitely
podcast.
the due diligence you
I'm
have
gonna
to
start
put
taking all the
in.
microphones apart.
You got to.
oui.
You got to. You got to know what you're working with, and what
sure.
better way is like take it apart, put it back together again.
That's beautiful.
That's awesome, right?
All right.
This is
How
a
long have we
great
been
Hell
talking
yeah.
for? Like an hour, 2 hours, something?
I don't know. I can't even see.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
me neither.
Is there anything you'd like to close this
You wanna
off
plug
with? Maybe some
something?
future goals that you have or something that next time you come on, you can be like, check it out, guys.
I accomplished it. I did it.
We're gonna hold you accountable.
Hopefully next time that we talk or see each other, I already have like that YouTube channel up and going.
Okay.
And I'll have most of my truck together
Nice.
for Moab. So yeah,
That's awesome.
Right on.
that's a lot of work, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Hell yeah.
I'll
Excited
link,
to
I'll
see all
link
of
your
that.
video.
You have
Thing.
Instagram or
Yeah, I do. It's Eliza Loves Trucks.
In case you guys didn't know.
we'll link that too.
And you need to check out Simone Gertz. She's awesome.
Okay.
She like builds. She got a Tesla, made it into a truckla. Before
Ooh.
a Tesla, before the Cybertruck existed.
Yeah.
So she does all these things with cars. She builds robots that help her like live daily life.
Oh, that
Tony
is
Stark?
awesome.
Yeah, it's silly, but there's silly things too. Like she made a robot that helps her eat soup, and then she made it.
Oh,
and just
yeah,
like
yeah.
splashing all the soup in her
That's
face.
pretty cool.
So I
She's a
will
really
say,
cool
like, what's come. I know I bash social media a lot, and the instant gratification deal, but man, like the people that I've met just through social media connections
Yeah.
has been amazing.
Oh, for
like
sure.
these,
Yeah.
I've met some ladies, across the United States through social media, and they're doing some awesome stuff. Like the way
Right.
you're saying that Simone,
Simone Gertz. I don't know exactly how you spell her last name. I think it's Gurtz.
Yeah.
Gertz.
But I'll definitely check that out. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing that you can get onto social media and essentially start a conversation with somebody and.
On the
No.
other side
the
of
best
the
time
world
for
or
that.
something.
Yeah, that's cool.
The best
Just look
time.
up Truckla. That's all you gotta do.
Okay.
It's like Tesla, but
So
All right.
yeah.
Wanna
So
wrap it
that's your Instagram. You're more on Instagram than Facebook, or a little bit
Yeah,
of both.
I'm trying to keep up
Cancel it
with
out.
both, but I've been terrible these past couple of months. But now that I'm up and running again and got you know, most of the stuff I need to get for the truck, I should be on social media a little bit more.
Awesome.
Cool. And of course, you guys, it's just because you tickled me. You guys can always follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and on Facebook, Los Terricolas Podcast. Actually, we just dropped the Los, so now it's just Terricolas Podcast.
Terricolas podcast. It sounds more sleek.
Sounds more
better,
more streamlined.
right?
Definitely like it.
Terricolas.
And,
Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for
No,
being
yeah,
on,
thank you
Eliza.
for being here, Eliza. Your time is valuable, and we appreciate that you spend it with us.
been
And
fun.
it's awesome. I don't know. I just I like having guests that have that vivacious drive. You know
Oh,
that.
thank you.
Yeah, definitely. So I like it. Thank you.
Now we'll end with a song. How about we sing a song that everybody knows, but we like hip hop it out, like
Okay, well, like which one?
like na 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 na.
that's
Eliza.
so
Seriously, man?
Wow, you guys,
That's
you
a
see
terrible
you see how nice we talk to
pinche.
each other here.
Yeah.
We
Mendiga
value
rola
everybody's
zarra.
ideas here.
Mendiga rola
We never
zarra.
bash each other's ideas.
Nah, well, your ideas.
Hey, sometimes that's how the best ideas are made, or some of the worst
Right?
ideas are kind of.
People say
Shut
that
up.
I don't have a
this thing is
jam.
dumb idea.
What
I
jam?
did,
What
but
jam have you
apparently-
been jamming to
sing it for
lately,
you.
Eliza?
We'll sing it for you.
What has been your go-to as of lately?
As of lately, it has been Whiskey Myers.
Whiskey Myers.
Yeah.
How does it go?
Oh no, it's a band. They've got
It's a
like
band?
kind of like red dirt country kind of stuff.
Well, what's the
Shit.
one that you go to?
I'm ready.
What are you doing?
Hey, wait, hey, go.
Dogwood?
Dogwood.
Yeah.
How does it go?
I don't know.
How does it go, Liza? You know how it goes.
Yo, this is like when you're asking somebody to imitate like car noises. You know what was
Wait, I can
bad?
do 'em.
I like
That's really
being
not
on,
that
on the service drive. I used to tell like, especially like the younger crowd.
Es que
that
está
would come
haciendo
in.
como.
Yes, they would tell me
I was
it's
about to
making
say
this
that.
noise, and I would say, well, what
okay.
noise?
You know what cars I love?
Exactly. And then I would say, can you do that again? And they would
Louder.
do it again.
The car fucking with him.
Higher pitch. Higher pitch.
Those
Higher pitch.
Subarus, the WRX, those have a distinct sound.
Sounds like a horse.
Yes, but nothing is funnier than seeing like somebody like replicate the car noises
car
in
sounds.
front
Oh
of you.
my god.
And you're like, I'm just kidding. And you're like, I'm just kidding. You have to bring it in. I have no idea what this is.
Yes, afterwards I would say, you still got to bring it in.
But thank you for that.
Okay, well,
I could do a pretty good like moto going up a hill.
get it.
You sound like a pedote, dude.
Anyway,
But the jam, Liza, you have
Jam,
to.
Okay.
Bad to the bone.
Whatever.
That's
Bad to the bone.
Yeah,
You know who
I
I
love George Thorogood.
That one? That one?
Yes.
Nope.
Bad to the bone. But it's
Oh,
it's more country now.
Oh, okay.
How does it go? How does it go?
One day I was born. I was around. And the gaze of the white window. And the door they have found. The head nurse spoke up. She leave this one alone. She tell right away. She was bad to the bone. Bad to the bone. Bad
To the bone.
You got that one down pretty good.
I know. You've been practicing, right?
Oh yeah. I used
Greg
to
is a
watch
showman.
Problem Child a lot. I don't know if you guys
Probably
ever
no.
seen it.
Oh my
I've
god.
seen that in forever.
That was a good movie.
I need to
I
go
love
watch
movie.
that.
And Gravedigger.
Excellent.
Yes, Gravedigger.
I was so mad. 'cause I
Miss
just-
Anderson, I love you.
I got so mad because I just bought my daughter a little Razor like Power Wheels.
Yeah.
And I need to put a 24-volt battery because it's going too slow.
Yeah.
And then my sister-in-law just went to Walmart and they have the Gravedigger 24-volt. And I'm
Yes.
like, oh, should have just waited.
When are they coming? March, right?
Yeah,
Come-
they usually come in March
March?
or April, yeah.
Are you gonna watch them?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go now. Now
Yeah,
that
you gotta
It's
go.
awesome.
yeah,
It's fun.
I've never been.
I can't.
No, once.
I'm gonna
Once.
tell you, like, I'm such a fangirl when it comes to monster trucks. Like, it would be like all the like a little tween like looking at like NSYNC or something.
No
I'm just
way.
like,
Oh, I love Backstreet Boys. Backstreet Boys.
It was sick, dude, when they catch air, those things.
Oh, yeah.
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 I have
when
the
they
little
do the
truck.
backflips.
I have the little.
What?
Oh, the
Gravedigger
front
RC
flip.
car, and
They're
it's
doing
signed
front
by,
flips
like-
now?
You know, there's like 6 drivers. I have like.
Have you seen the first front flip?
How the fuck do you get a truck?
It was a
Monster
backflip.
truck.
It was a
Yes.
backflip.
No, the first front flip.
Oh, the
They
first
could do
front flip.
backflips for sure. This guy busted a front flip.
How is that even
Yes.
possible?
I don't know. I can't
so
remember
they
how he did it.
They isolate the axles, like so. If you,
With that thing you were talking
Disengage,
about?
yeah.
The Atlas?
well, I don't know if they use
If
an
it's
Atlas per
specifically,
se,
yeah.
but
What's it called again?
Atlas transfer case. Yeah, but what they'll do is like they'll isolate the front axle to be working. So like your wheels are digging in, so it lifts your rear end up and over. or the other way around, like, you disengage the front end and you hit something, and naturally the vehicle wants to dive forward because of the suspension.
Right.
But when they disengage the front end, all of the momentum is digging down into, so that's why you get the back
How did they
flip.
do that? Did they put something in front of it and did it? Or?
Ay, no me acuerdo cómo le
'Cause I
hizo
know
el
the
güey.
backflip, they just,
Pero
like,
he did a front
go up
flip.
like a wall.
Se hizo un front flip, and I was like,
Se hizo un front flip.
cabrón. Every time, there's
Toro
something
loco.
about putting a hyped up rock song before you hit the trail, and then you just floor it.
For sure.
Rock music really hypes me up. I'm
Like
not
what?
gonna lie. I put the 1,000 horsepower by Godsmack.
How's
That's
that
a
go?
good one. Yeah, I can't remember. I'm not gonna lie. It starts with a car like, and it takes off. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I love rock. There's nothing like rock for a good off-roading session.
Rock en
Definitely
español.
so.
And then once you're done, you make the bonfire, and then you bust out the country dance skis. That's it. That's how it goes.
Yeah,
Baby
off-roading
turn,
songs, off-road tunes, Rob Zombie, AC/DC.
Hey.
Definitely a lot of George Thorogood.
Left me alone in that thunder one. I was like, Danda.
Yeah, no, it's so
You
hard.
left me alone on that one. Hey, rest in peace, Bon Scott.
All right.
All right,
Yes.
thank you guys for watching. That was weird.
We've dragged this on far enough.
Peace.
The inevitable end.